Good evening, wherever you may be. I'm your humble host, Mr. David Null, aka also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, 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 many blessings out there in the universe, even though you can't see them sometimes. So, with that said, I hope that you are doing well. And Miss Chloe's in the house first time out. Um, hope you're doing well. It was a long story tonight with Robert show. That was a long story. Geraldine, good morning to you, sweetheart. Alex. And I know it's early, Scotty boy. I know it's early for a 20, but that was 2.5, almost 3 hours worth of being, on show, and then that long story. So I want a break. I went in and got coffee, had to stir up the wood stove and put a couple logs in, and some little bitters, some stove wood, to try to get the fire back up again. And so, with that said, ooh, coffee. Yeah, I got it sitting here. I made a pot about 7:30 this evening, so I could be awake for doing the show. It is good, actually. Not bad. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, Burn? You know what I'm saying, Burn? Yeah, but so I can have a break with y'all. I can, do a 20 early. I have not had many cigarettes today, and I let two of them just burn up in the ashtray. And I was like, look, those don't count. I know I'm counting my cigarettes, but those two that burned up in my ashtray, those don't count. I barely got a puff off of each one of them. And but anyway, so I hope you all are doing well. So in the last few videos that I have done has been, my spirit guides have been like, it's about humanity. It's about humanity. It's about humanity. And humanity is in the title, right? So it gets out there to the universe. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Much love. I'm putting the vodka down. Oh, if you're drinking vodka, yeah, the coffee should be like a really weird trip if you're on vodka. Hope you all are doing well. Um, but anyway, last night I was talking about plastics and humankind. But Two Feathers Tried. That's a interesting way to put it. Love you, Michelle. How's Nate? Is his stomach calmed down? Hopefully he's not still throwing up. God knows that. I've been praying for the boy today. As I often do, but when he was sick last night, I was just like, that boy needs some extra prayers there. I belong to the Two Feathers tribe. That's interesting. Good. I'm glad they were answered. I was sending them for you. you know, I mean, I'm glad that prayers work. I am, but I'm sending them for other folks. Because as I have spoke on this before, the prayers don't do me any good other than help to heal someone. And that's not to be, I guess, frowned upon or shied upon or whatever, but that if I'm sending a prayer to somebody, it's sort of coming from my disembodied me. My spirit is sending energy out there, help this person. And so, but anyway, it's an interesting thing because it's like, uh, if I send the energy out and it's the one that does most of the healing, for example, this is just an example. It's not that I'm looking for credit for the healing, you know, it's not, because I don't send out healing expecting somebody to say, "Ooh, Hawkeye, you healed me, and I'm doing so much better," and praise you and get you and blah blah. Nah, it is as far away from that as I want to be. You know, yeah, send the energy out. Well, if I send the energy out to like last night when Nate was so sick, just help the boy out, Lord. Please send my angels over to wave their magic wand or something, but um the result of those prayers, or the result of me asking my angels to step in and help the boy out, is not done to make me look good. That's what I'm trying to say. My ego ain't in it at all. I'm hoping that I'm strong enough and that my prayers work well enough to that they would be successful in helping Nate out. You know what I mean? But as far as, and I'm glad to hear that, um, he's better. And that's like, good deal. Prayers worked. Okie dokie. So that's as far as it goes. But, you know, um, there are those folks who are like, well, I sent out healing prayers to this girl that I'd never met, and she got better. And then I sent prayers out to this other, and they got better. And see how well I'm doing? No, that's not where I'm at in this at all. So I am always glad and gracious that the prayers were answered. Um, the question is, are you strong enough to accept the energy? That's a good one. And I said something earlier tonight on Robert's show. I said, you may, as a shaman, I didn't know I was going to be a shaman until later on in life. Um, so it's like, to become a shaman is one thing. To like wake up and go, I'm going to be a shaman one day. Okay. And then there are people who just get blindsided by it and go, wow, um, I think Creator wants me to be a medicine person. I think Creator wants me to learn plants. I think Creator, and you end up being a medicine person, you know, but you don't necessarily start out that way. You got blindsided by it. Yep. So for me, I've always been a Boy Scout, Cub Scout, and looking at plants and things and stuff. So I've had my nose to the ground, so to speak, in a lot of ways. So where other people, not so much. I knew a long time ago that I had some kind of connection to the earth. I didn't know how or what, or, and then, after 25, 30 years, actually more like 35 years, I started going to powwows and things. And then as soon as I heard the drum, I was like, uh-oh. And then I talked to an elder and they said, if you can hear the drum when there is no drum, when you're by yourself, if you could, when you hear the drum like that, you know, you're kind of sort of one of us. If you don't hear the drum, it's like, okay, because the drum is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So if you don't hear the drum, then you don't hear Mother Earth. So there was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday powwow thing in Albany, Georgia, one year. They don't have them up there anymore. The city council and folks are like, oh, them damn Indians, you know. You know what? You would hear a trombone, huh? Three, you know. Um, so I went on a Saturday, and this is sort of when they were talking about, you know, when I met up with this person, and they were telling me about the drum and when you hear it and so forth. And I was like, well, that's really cool, you know. So went home that night, you know, and during the night, when I got home, because it's about an hour's drive from Albany. And so by the time I got home, an hour later, kind of thing, and I'm sitting here and I'm kind of mulling over the day and thinking about the dancing and so forth. And it's like I hear this, "Hey, and I could literally hear the drum, and my feet sitting there on the ground because my floor is on the ground. I could hear it. I could feel the drum beat, and since I had just come from the powwow, it was still fresh in my mind. So on Sunday, I was like, I got to go back. I want to go talk to this person again. So I did. I went back and I said, listen, I said, I went home last night and I couldn't get the drum out of my head. And he looked at me and he goes, there you go. And I was like, but why did you feel like you wanted to tell me this? And I said, because we talked last night and so forth. And I just thought you'd like to know. I can hear the drum. I can hear the drum beat. And he was like, good for you. Because in part of the conversation, I was like, I had found out that, my great grandmother and great grandmother and grandmother were all half Cherokee. And, I'm understanding this and I'm talking to him about how I have felt a connection to the earth. And, and in doing so, this was, one or two, or maybe my third powwow, maybe, probably like the first or second one. And, the fact that I could hear the drum in my being, in my heart, in my chest when I got home, when there was no drum, I was like, wow. So for folks who are trying to pursue a career in shamanism or spiritualism or whatever, whether or not you've ever been, hey, Miss Pearl, whether or not you've ever been to a powwow, but if you've heard drumming and you turn the music off or the record off, or and you can still hear a boom 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 boom. If you can hear that, if you can kind of sort of feel it, because there are times when I go, whoa, damn, somebody somewhere is drumming. And I mean, it's like loud in my head, like, and so it's like, wowzers. Now, I don't know if it's a pre-recording that is being replayed from the quantum back when I hear it. But the elders say that there is someone drumming somewhere. Because in the realm of shamans and medicine men, if you don't hear a drum and you got one, pick it up. Because maybe it's that how do I put we're all responsible, right? What, hearing the drum, Miss Pearl? Can you hear it? Oh, there you are, Miss Katniss. Is Geraldine still around? Or was that my imagination? Um, Miss Pearl, is that what you were talking about? Was hearing the drum? That's interesting. That really is. Hey, Mr. Earl, I was just thinking Katniss is on, and where's that other girl, Miss Geraldine? You know, because y'all are sort of in the same neighborhood. That's what I was thinking. That's all. I didn't mean nothing else. You know, okay, girlfriend, y'all are neighbors. You know, because you live in the UK. UK is a big place, but you know, it's a lot further away from us. You know, but howdy, y'all. So, but anyway, so if you can hear the drum, is one thing. If you can hear the drum and feel the drum, that's a little bit higher up on the list, you know. And if you can hear the drum and feel the drum, and I mean, and feel it through your feet kind of thing, oh, holy crap, you're really being in tune, you know. Does it look on backwards? Actually, the tag is back here, so I had it on right. It's just not a very distinct hat. Yeah, we are. We're all neighbors, especially in the quantum, right? So, in understanding these basic things, because we talk about these all the time, vibration, absolutely. A lot of folks are talking after the first of the year, and I agree with this, as most of you all will agree with me with vibration, is that this year it's about frequency. There are going to be lots of changes and things, and we can change. We can change our mind, we can change our mood, you know, uh, with frequencies, right? And so, been a lot of talk in different areas. Um, when you know I'm listening along, and they go, "Yeah, well, you know, our frequencies is what you know." It's like in a conversation where they don't add something about frequency that's out of place. It's just not the main theme of the conversation, for example. So they're talking about this and that, and you go, well, you know, you get the right frequencies, and it's like, okay. So, you know, and keeping an eye on trends and of other trends. And so the word frequency has come up a bunch in the last 15 days after the first of the year. Not that there's anything wrong, but I would say that those folks who are presenting frequency when they say it, it's in a positive way. Or they say, you know, there are a lot of negative people out there, and that's a bad frequency. We need to counteract that frequency with positive energy and good intent. Something like that, you know. And some they're talking about something else and blah, 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 but they will throw in this thing about frequency. And is it time? Oh my God, it is. I've been waiting as much as I wanted to cheat. So, nanny, nanny, it's a 20. Well, if you listen to some of the, hey, Barry, if you listen to some of the ET stuff, um, you know, frequency, woo, that was a good one. That was a full one, too. But the frequency, um, is also coming from the center of the universe and also, well, the center of the galaxy and maybe the universe, but the center of the galaxy, you know, we're still getting bombarded with stuff that ain't from the planet, that ain't from the sun, that's hitting our planet and affecting us. So absolutely frequencies changes, and not just mood and so forth like you all were talking about, but the frequencies changing our DNA. It is changing to some of us. It's It's changing our pattern. How about that one? The frequencies are changing our pattern. And I'm like, okay, guys, what I'm kind of understanding it in that the pattern of the aura, the pattern of energy that helps hold us together. We have a pattern of our soul, if you will, on us. And these energies are changing our pattern. That's an odd freaking thing to put in my head, y'all. That these energies are changing our pattern. Now, let's just think about that a minute and let me take another break. Changing our pattern. Oh, it's still solid. That's not, it's like giving it colors. It's like the picture in my head is like a Christmas tree with the lights, so it's there. And it isn't, if anything, it's getting stronger, but it's like giving us like a, one of them woo-woo patterns. So it's not just a solid color, the pattern is changing. That's the best I can do at the moment. So if our aura is a nice, I'm just going to throw it out, it's a purple, and it's kind of, stays sort of a purple and it changes hues, but now there are purples and blues and tinges of red around the edges with highlights of green, and it's like, what? Well, it was just purple, but not anymore. It's still mainly purple, but now it's got all these other patterns in the pattern. Best I can do under the circumstances. Yeah, we are strung together like Christmas tree lights. So in this conversation, and I haven't had the conversation yet, after 23 minutes, 22:46. But we are the voice of humanity, as is in the title of this video. So we are the voice of humanity? What do you mean, Hawkeye? Well, because we're Christmas tree lights strung together, our energies are connected in the quantum. And they were showing me this, like we're all connected, not necessarily linked arm in arm, but spiritually we are locked arm in arm. And it was like standing on a beach or something. Who's humanity? We are humanity. Usins, you and means, and the person next to you, And, we as humanity need to voice our opinions and help to shape our societies. So they are like hammering me with this subject, okay? But I understand why. Because in listening to some of the people with the election last night, or, and so forth, I was just commenting on my body heat. No temp, but super warm. That's in Celsius, right? 625, I guess. That's just negative blood. But anyway, so we as humanity. So Rachel Maddow was NBC, and I watched a clip of her talking about they will not show Donald Trump's speech because he won the Iowa election. Because NBC is not going to give any candidates free airtime. And she went on with this speech about, and besides, he doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have anything to say. And we will listen to his speech. And if we find out that he said something interesting, we, NBC, will air it to you. What the fudge? I have never in my 71 years and 60 years at least of listening to television and commentators, listening to elections and election. Thank you very much, Scotty Boy. And Rachel Maddow. Oh my God. And she did it with a straight face. She did it with a freaking straight face. Like, we can't give him any free airtime. And, and the other channel cut him off as when he got to the immigration issue. And, we need to secure our borders and we need to, and they cut his speech off and said, what Trump is always talking about. So we don't need to listen to it again. And so the major networks are literally cutting him off. Whether you like him or not, he won, and you're covering supposedly for the nation, you're covering the speech of a candidate who won in an election. And you're not going to cover his speech because he was the president before. You don't need to listen to him. You know what he's already, and we're not going to be any free airtime. Holy shit. And this is just the first one. Imagine what it's going to be like before we get to freaking November. You hear me? It's going to be a slugfest. You hear me? So, what does that mean? Well, because you and me and other people, we are the voice of humanity. And what my folks are telling me is that Off the Hook, hello, is what they're telling me is that we got to keep the comments clean. But I don't know where the video is, or I would go in there and make a comment. I would say, Rachel Maddow, go away or something. I can't believe that NBC is treating an ex-president this way. I refuse to listen to your newscast anymore. This year going to be wild. Yes, it absolutely is. Grab a couple of joints, sit down, put that bag on your lap, and find you a bowl, and so you don't have to go far. You can just fill it back up because it's going to be interesting. Most of my life now, because it's only been a short time that I didn't, but when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, we were doing book reports on elections, and while being in Catholic school, the nuns were really on that stuff, and they were teaching you stuff, and they were teaching you to pay attention, and then you were only 3 weeks in. Yep. I can't. There's a part of me that is saying to the universe, I don't want to watch. I just want to pull my hat down, and I don't want to watch. I just let me avert my eyes for the next 6 months at least, and I know it's 11 months away, but let me divert my eyes for a little while here, but I think that some of this tension in the universe is the fact that DeSantis lost, Nikki Haley, uh, Vivek, so, and Trump is the dude for the supposedly the Republican side. So that has sort of set a standard in the first election, in the first caucus. So what does that mean going down the road? Well, anything Trump says is going to be repeating himself for the last 4 years. That part be true. But there are folks who are like, there were folks that didn't like him. I still don't like the man too much, but he's got more chutzpah than Biden and these other guys. And, we got to, and if the populace doesn't like DeSantis or these other choices, then gotta throw our hats in the ring for Donald one more time, because he can't run again after this time. So let him run, let him win. We could use 4 decent years of a good CEO. There's nothing right there. Nah, don't screw Florida now. I got a lot of folks in Florida, sort of grew up there a little bit, and it's just right down the road for me, Scotty boy. So, nah, don't screw Florida now. Don't give them any bad energy. They're trying to do a good job down there, honestly. And with Tallahassee being just south of me, keep up with some of the stuff. And so, them folks in Florida and in Tallahassee, they're really trying, you know. Yeah, DeSantis. He's really trying. And folks like him. He's a personable guy and talks to folks, and he doesn't snub people. And in that respect, I wish other folks could see. He's like, "Hi, how you doing?" Where other folks are surrounded by guards, and you can't talk to and not to say he doesn't have his folks, but he's a personable guy, more personal than some other folks, So, but anyway, election's over. So, but what he and Vivek did was establish themselves on the national front. And so it's like you have to be nationally known. So the only thing that folks have heard about DeSantis is from Rachel Maddow and people who have only talked bad about him. But he just lives right down the road from me, nationally speaking, 70 miles. And, and then local news and with Florida news and other things, it is not what goes out nationally. These folks lie about everything. And so if they're lying about Trump, they're lying about DeSantis. You know what I mean? So, and they're literally making shit up. Literally, because nobody will call them on it because they're NBC and CBS and whatever, that nobody will call them on it. And they're so big and clunky that everybody says, "Whoa, Rachel Maddow said blah, 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 blah." And it's a fucking lie. Every single bit of it is a lie. It's made up. And the things she said in one of her speeches last night, during the election, she was making shit up. Because I listen, I'm watching politics, and she was spouting off stuff and numbers and things like the January 6th and how many people died, and it was all about tell me Soros did not contribute to his campaign. Soros. Oh, I don't know about that. I honestly don't. I know that he's trying his best to run as clean a campaign as possible. To my knowledge, folks down there don't want him in anything. He doesn't want that kind of backing. He would rather, he would rather take $1 from people, as to have now somebody in his campaign, or, through some kind of because see, DeSantis pissed off Disney. Okay, just saying. So if he pissed off Disney, do you think he'd really take money from Soros? Just saying. I'm just saying. So, but the information you get on a national level is not what you hear on a local. Yeah, being that he's sort of like my neighbor, keeping an eye on him. But up to this point, he's cleaner than a lot of these other folks because he hasn't had a national view and hasn't, although he's the governor of Florida, it's, uh, it's not the same as being El Presidente, but, here's what I see about DeSantis. And when he came out, I said, he ain't going to win. What the hell's he doing? He's setting himself up for 4 years from now. Hi, everybody. I'm the governor of Florida, and I ran for president. And, Trump's out of the way in 4 years. Who's going to be a nominee? If he sets himself up, shows well in Florida, then he's going to get a good chance of being a nominee in 4 years. Pay attention to that. So, and looking at him and the situation, but he's running Florida real well. I mean, honestly, there's no income tax. All the things they say about Florida, you don't have that. A proper if their property tax is minimal, but income tax, there is no state income tax on wages. And Florida's got a lot of good stuff going for it. So, but folks, Florida this and blah blah blah. Listen, they ain't so bad. I wouldn't necessarily want to move back to Florida, but I would move to Florida before I would move. I don't know. Alabama's pretty close, and Alabama's got some pretty cool places, and people in Alabama have gotten better over the years. It reminds me of the homeowners association. He told me to drop them when I told him I wouldn't get vaxxed, but he asked my husband how I'm doing daily. Yeah. So, and for the state of Florida, here in the state of Georgia, 100 miles from Tallahassee, there's the state line. But in Albany, Georgia, half of the nurses and doctors walked out of Phoebe Putney Hospital because Phoebe Putney mandated vaxes. And so half of them walked out. I mean, it was on the state news. It was on national news. They had to call in the National Guard to help because the nurses and doctors walked out, and other help too. They said, no, you're going to mandate vaxes, and they walked out. And I was like, good for them, So, but there are, but so, 100 miles away is the state of Florida, where there wasn't the vax, there wasn't the mask mandates, wasn't, it was business as usual, and everything came out okay. Wouldn't be vaxxed, but he has no. Oh, yeah. So, and I've looked at people back then, and I've even talked about a little bit, but, folks were masked up to the hilt up here, and you drive across the state line and it's not. It's just like, what? People's opinions. So in Florida, it wasn't drilled into everybody's head. DeSantis and folks are like, no, 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 no. You can wear it if you want to, but we're not mandating shit. In the state of Georgia, they were like, you will do this. You are going to do this. And the state of Georgia was much different than, for me, 70 miles south. So what the hell is going on, right? But anyway, so us Hawaiians don't give a shit. So I think you Hawaiians should seriously, consider dropping out. But you get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of stuff for the United States. However, was sitting out there in the middle of the Pacific, you could probably swing deals with the Russians, and you get stuff from the Chinese anyway. It might go to the United States and come back to you as some kind of product, but so you can make your own deals with Taiwan and Japan, right, or the Japanese. That's what I was thinking. Or the Thailandese. Or the Indonese, or the Australianese. I mean, but anyway. Yeah, the Japanese don't have to bomb Hawaii. They just took it over anyway. Okay, Scotty boy, we as humanity, let's talk about the humanity thing. So, how can we change this? So, people who are in the position of owning things, okay? So, I own 18 acres. Considering, ownership of land, it's a really small place. It's a small place. But now, compared to where my sister lives, which is a lot, literally a trailer lot that's not very wide and not very long. And, she lives there. And, she likes it there. And, don't get me wrong, but, um, it's not the same. So my aunt lives in a trailer park. It's a nice park. It really is. And has been nice for years. She's lived there for, I don't know, 30, going on 30 years now because she's 88. So she's at double eight. You own 7 acres outright. Your eyes are round and you have no bank account. See, now most people wouldn't understand that. You're not slant-eyed, you're round-eyed. See, so a lot of people would not understand that. I get it. You're not of that ilk, kind of thing. When I moved up here to South Georgia, I had to talk like a redneck because you're not from around here, are you, boy? They could pick up well, I'm from Tampa. Yeah, but you ain't from around here, boy. And I learned to understand that just because I'm live south of Georgia, actually, I was not truly a Southerner. So, but anyway, and I am a part of the South now, and my heart is up. It's been with the South for a long time, but where was I headed? Well, as we the people. So, how do we sway people? Well, we explain to folks, and we talk to our neighbor and people we meet in the stores and stuff, and we ask them, "How do you feel about this?" And you might not necessarily um, tell them how you feel. You might say something like, "Well, there are some people that think we should not supply any more weapons to the Ukraine." Now, that might be your opinion, but you say, well, some folks feel this way. What do you think? So rather than putting you and your opinion up for argument, you say, well, I got a neighbor that he's always telling me about how we ought to get out of the UN. What do you think about it? And talk it up. And so why sway? He came to our small town not long ago, complained to Parliament medical records being tampered with. Yeah. They actually think I'm black. No, I'm kidding. But so in this day and age of stuff, how do we sway? We get together and look at each other and go, I don't agree with this. If because of the South, 100 years ago, they were hanging people on the courthouse square. We don't do that anymore. But if they were to try it nowadays, they say, we're going to hang whoever it is, whether it be a black person or a Mexican or a Chinese or German. There's a bunch of Germans around here for some reason. Konnichiwa. But there would be automatic, people would be stopping in the street, from going around, and they'd be going, no, what are you doing? No, you ain't going to hang that person. No. So society says now, no, that shit ain't acceptable at all. Whereas in the past, somebody would say, hey, let me help you with that rope, and somebody else would be like, I brought some fried chicken. Let's have a picnic, y'all, while they're hanging whoever it is they hanging. So, but that is not acceptable anymore down here. All right, which is a good thing. So that's how much in the last 100 years that the South has progressed. Okay. So, and if you go into the local IHOP, I don't know if she still works there, but a black, I'm going to say gentleman, which that's probably not the right pronoun, with curly hair and spray painted different colors, working at the IHOP in Thomasville. Never would have happened. And, no, they'd have took that nugget out back and hung him after dragging him through the weeds. Yeah, I know they did lynching in the North too, but when I'm explaining that the South, was what? Well, they hung them niggas in the South, and we hung them in the North too. But you know what I mean. So the South was sort of known for the KKK and for hanging folks, but you didn't hear about Indiana hanging folks, or some other northern state or Massachusetts, but to the point of that though, but anyway, so humanity, we have the opportunity now with the internet and with knowing that we are connected in the quantum, there's more awareness of this between people. Up the hook, what part of where do you live that you wouldn't get served? What's your address, honey? No, that's not what I mean. But sort of, you know. And in this day and age, it just if I go in someplace and they would not want to serve me, I would be more than happy to leave. Do you know why? Oh, Vegas. Oh, crap in a bag. But see, here's something. Here's something that I'm going to say it because they call themselves some of these queer folk. You know, remember a couple of years ago, there was a couple of guys that went into a bakery and they wanted a gay cake for their wedding, and the people in the bakery said, "No, sorry, we're Christian. We can't do that. We'll just bake a regular cake, but not for a gay wedding," kind of thing. And so they got sued. Everybody was yeah, 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 yeah. And here's the thing. Now, these Christian people, they were, you know, but I've worked in a prison. I've worked as a server. I worked as a server on the carnival for years. I'm one of the best damn, grill men you can find, and quick, accurate, and you know, and pleasant to work with, kind of thing. Um, with the cookhouse that we ran, that I helped run, with mom and dad, and then my brother after they passed away, and so but a lot of experience serving food. Okay, I've worked in the restaurants too, a couple of restaurants as a server. So, but anyway, what you don't do is piss off your servers. You want to go into a place and they don't want to serve you, leave. Why? Because if you push it, well, I demand that you serve me. They gonna be spitting in your food. They gonna be picking cockroaches up and putting it in your coffee, and so they gonna be no. If they don't want to serve you, do not demand that they do. Get the fudge out of there. Turn around and say thank you very much. Have a nice day. Don't even get pissed off. Why? Because I would much rather them tell me that. Because, see, they wouldn't serve carnies in certain restaurants back in the day. They would not serve carnies because we were looked at as like gypsies. And there might be still some places today where they won't serve gypsies, if you can tell. But but if somebody's going to be that way, I would much rather them tell me straight up, I'm sorry, but I don't want to serve your kind. What kind is that? I mean, I'd be a little curious, but then I'd say, okay, sorry you feel that way. Have a nice day. Because if you do anything other than be kind to them, they're going to say, see, I told you. I told you them folks like that were like, me and back in my hippie days, and long hair and, not as long as it is now, by golly. At 71, my hair is the longest it's ever been. But, you know, now folks don't mind. They just don't care, But I try not to look, nothing against the homeless. But I try not to look like a homeless person going into the stores and things. I try to be a little presentable, like my hair. I haven't brushed my hair today, and probably won't brush it today. Well, actually, today is tomorrow. So, yeah, I was a beatnik. Absolutely. When beatniks were popular, I was a beatnik. My mother's side Irish, tinkers. You mean like tinkerers, fix things, made pots and pans and fixed, and you mean that kind of tinker? But anyway, oh, cool. I know a little bit about histories and things. I would like to experience more rather than just hear a story, but like I would just love to go to the UK and Ireland and and go north into Scotland. I would love it. I would love to be able to go, and I don't know if you could, but I would love to be able to walk over, and if it ain't Stonehenge, I'd like to go to one of the henges there and be able to put my hands on some of those rocks. I just want to feel the energy off of those rocks for myself. I don't want somebody else to tell me, oh, well, these rocks have energies and stuff. Yeah, okay. And somebody might say, that one over there has got a lot of energy in it. And people say, yeah, that one over there, a little, and sure enough, I want to go check it out myself. But I would love to go over there and check out some of the stones and the hinges and the stone hinges, not just Stonehenge. But anyway, just to get a feel of it's ancient here in the United States, but it's a different ancient. And, the way the entire place, well, the entire place, yeah, the entire place has been, blocked off and sold. That is true. I'm assuming like the UK is. Oh yeah, I don't want to move them. I just want to go over and hug them. Yeah, I just want to go over and hug the rocks. I don't want to mess with them other than maybe put put a magnet on them and see if they stick or not, or take a compass and see if the compass goes crazy. But other than that, nah, that's all I want to do. But so in this grand scheme of things, we as humanity can steer things. So by opinion polls, and we should take them. If you don't like this guy or this girl or woman or this policy or something, then say so. And it might be that you start a poll or that we start a poll and say, so what do you think about this? And we take a poll, and at the end results are that, well, 85% of us don't like that, whatever that is. Chad is adding words to my sentences. Yeah? Wow. It's smarter than you. Or it thinks it's smarter than you. I got to have some coffee. Hang on. It's been almost an hour. About time for a 20 break. That's why I love listening to you and your past. Well, thank you, Geraldine. I ain't too scared to say, let me try your sister. I am. I'm embarrassed. I still got a crush on this little red-haired girl in Thomasville, and I've known Tom for a long time too, but I've had a crush on her, and I ain't said nothing in all these years, and I've been thinking about it. Like you just go into town one day and go by her house and go, you know what? I just want to tell you before I die that I've had a crush on you for years. Now, what do you want to do about it? Sorry, but I've had a crush on you. I got a spell on you because you're mine. But anyway, so humanity, if we start thinking ourselves as a group, are you human? Yes. I could be a hybrid, but are we human? Yes. Then you're part of humanity. You don't have to join any club. You're already part of it. Like those of us who are members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, right? Because we think and therefore we are it, and it is, and there it is. There's no joining. Because we think alike, we're part of the league. That's it. You refuse to collectively think. Well, you're kind of sort of doing it now, Scotty boy. But here's my point about humanity. If we want peace, then we as human beings, if our intent should be peaceable. That's all. So we don't have to join We don't have to like, well, we're all going to do this together. We just do it. So if humanity's energies frequency changes to, oh, they got me all messed up and the chaos is killing me and everything. And it's like, calm down, calm down, puppy. Calm down, puppy. Calm down, puppy. So, a peace is the goal. So, if we just start being more peaceable within ourselves and emitting that and showing it to other people, and it was like, and talking with a couple of people already this year, and it started at the end of last year, but I was like, if I have been talking about this for years, as what did Jesus say when he went around? He said, "Peace be unto you, my brothers and sisters." And I think the Christ consciousness is a pretty good thing. And in that Christ consciousness, if we go around to each other, peace be unto you, and then practice it without any kind of special anything. Peace be unto you, my brothers and sisters, or just brother, or just sister. And like my friend Rob, when he came over, he stopped and we were talking about that there were certain traditions. Now, I'm not Jewish, so I can't tell you, but that they would make a mark on the door. And I remember that there was some religions or some kind of sect or something. Anyway, they did something around the doorway when they went into someone's house to bless them. So he was, as he's come in and out a couple of times since our conversation, he's like, bless his house when he comes in or leaves. Bless his house and all who enter. And so it's like, what? But is that such a hard thing to do? If somebody invites you over to their house, and when you walk in, as you cross the threshold of the door, you just say, bless this house and all who enter. And he was like putting his hand on the door frame. I was too lazy for coffee. I still got coffee here. Oh, I thought it was a 20 mark. Dang it. I'm going to cheat. But so anyway, so we as humanity, if we were just to emulate that, you don't have to say it's Christ-like or anything, or what religion or anything, because that ain't it. What our intent is to bring peace. So if we say it out loud to our brothers and sisters that we meet, and and mean it, um, or go into somebody's house, or and it could be that you go into a federal building and you stand there before you do. I'm thinking right now with the Colquitt County office building there. How about just compassion? Well, part of the peace business. Yeah, she wasn't joking. She was literal. Who was literal? If we wish peace be unto people, then we already have compassion. And by saying peace be unto you, it shows our compassion. Okay. But the reason for saying it is to emit the frequency into the universe, is for that frequency. See, we brought that frequency back around from an hour ago. The frequency, which is so important. So we can feel compassion. It's difficult to show compassion. All right. Well, how do you, well, you go, how do you show compassion if you're around some folks? You be nice to them or something. That's what that redhead should, what? Uh, oh, we hug a lot when we see each other. We've been good friends for a long time, but I don't think she knows that I've had a crush on her, and I've just been too much of a bonehead to not, we've had a couple of times where it's like feeling her energy. It's like, man, I just wish I could snuggle up to her a little bit closer. But anyway, how do I drop my drawers? Compassion just pokes out. That's a good one. No, but I mean, if you say, peace be unto you, or peace be to this house and all who enter, that's stating, to the universe, peace. And there's that vibration that goes along with it. And so, whereas compassion, okay, compassion be unto you. What? How do you show compassion to? I'm thinking of when I was standing in the Dollar General store the last time I was there and talking to the people and so forth, and I was like, I can say peace be unto you. I showed compassion to 6 people that I let go in line before me. Okay. But there were 6 people behind me, And so it's like, peace be unto you, my friends. I'll be done here in a minute. So, but I can't say, may compassion be upon you, my brothers and sisters standing in line behind me. That just doesn't sound right. But if I say, peace be upon you, and thank you for waiting, I'm hurrying, then that shows compassion. So why do I do what I do? And why do I, in situations where most folks will go, what the fudge is that old fudger doing over there? What is he doing? What's he saying? He's getting people in the store kind of what we're all talking amongst ourselves. Who does that in a store? We're all strangers, well, I'm not a stranger to anybody hardly. So, but to break the ice, and I can say it to the, how are you doing today, sir? As I'm putting stuff up on the register. And I go, fine, peace be unto you, my dear. And how's your day been? So when I say peace be upon you to the cashier, right? I can look at, because she's cashiering, right? Then you can look at somebody standing behind you, beside you, or somebody else in the store. So when you say peace be upon you, you can look at somebody and infer it to them, because it's like, well, he looked at me when he said it, and now they're included in you saying peace be upon you to the clerk. Okay. Different strokes for different folks. Yep. I'm starting this. I'm I'm the crazy one who is starting this. But we down here in the South, I don't know. I have been up north. Um, Tennessee is a lot like it is down here, because I've been to Tennessee many times and I've stayed up there for weekends, and so forth. Um, and been through Kentucky, have stayed there a little bit. I went out and pushed the neighborhood to see who would talk to me and who wouldn't, and what was going on, kind of thing. It's like, let me just walk out of here and and hey, how you doing, buddy? What, or in a store or something. If there's time or it's convenient to bring something up, or make a comment about the person behind the counter, for example, if you go into a store. And if they got a name tag on, call them by name. So these types of personal things. And then, you know, you might not say it at the beginning, but when they finish bagging up your stuff, you go, thank you very much. You know, have a nice day and may peace be upon you and your family. And adios. So you have added a little bit of something extra. But as we say peace, as we say the word peace, especially now with all of the rebels and the this and the Houthis and the blah, blah, blahs, you know, people want peace. One way or the other, they want peace, right? So to spread this now, hey, Charles, how are you? In iota, eh? Did I get that right? In iota. Is that an acronym or is that your name? My last name is Null. It means what it is, null, null and void. Hope you're well, Charles, and wherever in whatever neck of the woods you're in. But anyway, if we just starting Jethro, no, you know, Jethro Tull is like one of my all-time favorite of groups. You know, I had every one of their albums, I think, except maybe the last one or two, or maybe three. I don't know. I can't remember at the moment what the last one. That I remembered them making, you know, with a sea lion with a ball at the carnival, and he did that, and they had a huge in concert. They had a huge beach ball that was white, and he used his flute and hit the end of the beach ball, and it went up into the air, and they turned off all the lights and hit it with a strobe. And we were like, what the fuck? And Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson, you know, and I can hear the flute playing in the background, like I can hear the drum. I can hear his flute playing, you know. But you know, and the album Thick as a Brick, you know, talk about a change in my life at the time that it came out, and whether he intended it that way. Yeah, Jethro, no, yeah. No joke. They played there. Ian's still doing it. God, he must be 80 years old now. I'm 71. So they played there this summer. Oh my God. No, these new groups and folks, I mean, the arrangement, the arrangement of it, you know, some of these, now some of these bands are tight, but some of the complex stuff like Zappa, you know, the folks don't do like things like Zappa did, you know. Yeah, Mr. Tull, thank you very much. And I would wear that badge proudly, let me tell you. And I do wear that badge proudly. And I've got, you know, several CDs, tapes, and other, well, actually, I don't have other means. I had records, but I can't plug them in at the moment. But anyway, yeah. Or like King Crimson. Raise your hand if you know who they are. You know, King Crimson, in the court of the Crimson King. Yeah, buddy. It's sort of like ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. You know, you've never heard of King Crimson? Yeah, that's a Crimson and Clover. Over and over, crimson and clover, over and over. Yeah. You don't think so, Michelle? You should check it out just for the hell of it. Um, my my pops. When I went down to Tampa one time. Um, he was listening to some music, and I was like, "That sounds familiar. Who is that?" And he said, "King Crimson." And I was like, "What?" you know, he was like, "Yeah," because when he was up here one time, I played, some there. I can't remember. We were doing a show, and a friend of mine had some King Crimson that he was playing. And I said, "Listen, Pops, you should hear this one." And I played him the Court of the Crimson King. And he went back to Tampa and found it, bought it, and and played it often. So it's like, and he was in his 70s and still listening to King Crimson. So and it's rock and roll, but that an old person can listen to, I guess. I don't know. He liked it, but there was he wouldn't admit it too much, but there was 60s, 70s music that Pop liked, and probably 80s too. Um, that he might have, he admitted later on, he said, "Well, that's one of my favorite songs." And I was like, "What?" I thought Harry Belafonte or, somebody that would be one of your favorite songs. And he was like, "No." And I can't remember what the Pop song was. We played it at his funeral. I made a mixed tape of, um, of the songs that he told me he liked uh, be, before he went into the coma. Because when he came out, he couldn't speak much. Um, and of course, he told me he was dying when he told me to unplug him. Um, but I was like, "What?" And then a couple of days later, when he was dead, I was like, "That was weird." But he knew, and I knew, and all that, and he's in a better place. But to be in a coma for 3 months and then come out and have had heart surgery and to be, having, oh my God. And he knew that he wanted to go back. He wasn't supposed to be here in this world. And so, the day after Thanksgiving, in 1999, we unplugged my pops, and his body it was horrible to see him in the ICU there. Um, he needed to be unplugged. He needed to go back with the angels, and he did. I could see him sitting up in the corner of the room. It was like there was an angel on either side. I was like, "Pops is up there. He ain't in this body no more. Let's unplug him, y'all." Well, say what you want to him. And I was like, "Bye, Pops." And he's not in there no more. And my family looked at me, and we were standing around his bed and everything. And I was like, "Pops is not in there." He told me Sunday to unplug him, and here we are. We're going to unplug him. Let's let him go back to his glory where he's been for the last 3 months. Let's let him go back. So, but anyway, boy, that's a side stroke on that one. But the music, the frequency, and the fact that here was this 70 some old man that liked King Crimson. I guess is where I was going with this. Yeah, 138. You could do better, Scotty boy. I haven't taken mine in like 3 weeks. When everybody was like, "Ooh, you need to, check your blood pressure all the time," and it's like it didn't do me any good. Looking at it, well, it's 120 over something. Well, it got to be that it was so regular. I was like, "Why check it? The machine's right over yonder, right?" And if I'm being a little twingy or something, "Oh, your average is two." Well, you're doing better. Um, yeah, mine was 285 when I went in the hospital last time. but my average is like around 120 to 100. Anything above that, in fact, it has been too low at times. Where I'm literally just wee, it's fun, but low blood pressure, don't go walking around the house or leave the house, you know. Oh, it is 20, an hour and 20 minutes. It is 20. So I hit it almost on the nose. I knew I was getting close. So it depends on where my meds are. And recently, I just haven't been checking. I'm like, if I'm really feeling bad or something like that, or I'm going to check it because it is right over there, right? But at the same time, I realized I was checking it 2 or 3 times a day, and I'm keeping track of it. And I was like, why? It has settled down. It's been, stable. So why should I keep checking it if it's been stable for the last, month or so? Oh, it went up today or whatever. And I was like, okay. But if I'm feeling a little rough, I pull it out and go, well, damn, my blood pressure is either up or low. Oh, if it's okay, I'm like, well, fudge. So much for this being blood pressure related as to why I may feel bad, or also to why I'm having chest pains. Well, it ain't my blood pressure. It ain't my, um, pulse. So, but anyway, back to we as humanity. I want to stay on this. We as humanity. So there are little tiny slight things we can do, like peace be unto you. And you don't have to say brother or sister if you don't want to. But at least if you say it to your friends or neighbors or family, peace be unto you, my mother and father, I love you. Peace be unto you, Aunt Shirley. I can sit here and do that, or call her on the phone and talk to her and go, I love you. Peace be unto you, Aunt Shirley. I hope you're doing well. So you can interject it into conversations this year, because we're going to need to stay in peace for the election. And we as humanity need to not, because there's going to be a row. And there's going to be a row. What do you mean, Hawkeye? People are going to get into it if they think that the election is being stolen one way or the other. And if the Dems do like they did in Georgia this time around, there's going to be some Republicans with pistols, because it's open carry here in the state of Georgia. So there's going to be folks lined up with their pistols and whatever other armaments and going, go ahead, make my day. Bring in some bogus, votes. And so, there was a guy in Texas that, that was like, uh, of course, it was on YouTube, on the internet, at the Greg Abbott's speech or something there in Texas, Governor Abbott. Um, and he was a Palestinian protester or something, and they whooped on that boy and tossed him out, and only in Texas. Well, folks are going to find out. Some of these folks have had enough. The populace has had enough. Now, I'm not saying that folks are in a killing mode, but they're in a mode that they're going to hurt you. They're in a I'm going to hurt you mode. If you know, if you're going to do that, if you're going to act stupid, we are all in a we're going to hurt you mode. Don't do like that guy did in Texas, you know, and don't provoke people. And so this time around, well, last time things just pissed me off every time I looked at them. And, here goes it and blah, blah, blah. And I knew when I went to bed and I'm in Georgia and I'm watching, I told everybody, I said, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be Biden. And there are mysteriously votes are going to appear. And I woke up the next morning and son of a bitch, I was right. And so it's like, it's almost like it was in the quantum. And there were those of us who could see it coming. We literally could feel it in our bones. But now is that going to happen again? I don't think so. Because there's some Georgians that are going, nuh-uh. That was not who we elected. Nuh-uh. We didn't elect him. Nuh-uh. There were more votes than registered voters. And it's like, I don't care if it takes 6 months, recount them sons of bitches. There's a paper ballot that comes out, rerun them sons of bitches, find out who is or who ain't a citizen or a registered voter, because it ain't that hard to do. You can register almost anywhere in the state of Georgia as a voter. Yeah, and I mean, they had that lady on tape with a bag of stuff that went over and was, that it was obvious it was set up. It wasn't just the counts got, no, there was a videotape of them doing it, bringing in no. But there's going to be somebody with a pistol this time around and daring them. What are you doing? Where'd you get them votes? Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. So I don't think the state of Georgia is going to be the same after that last round. And have you heard about, that the prosecuting lady in the state of Georgia who has been overpaying her boyfriend, fellow prosecutor, and they've been going on junkets, big money junkets, and the state of Georgia has been Fannie Willis, is it? And the state of Georgia has basically paid for it to the tune of like $900,000 plus in prosecuting Trump. Well, he's not married anymore. He was filing for a divorce, and the divorce papers were sealed. But now that all of this has come out, all hell has broke loose. But he was filing for a divorce as they went on one of their junkets or something. Oh, thank God she got busted. Thank God. You stupid bitch. You're the prosecuting attorney for not just, it's not the whole state. I'm sorry, it is for Fulton County. But now, because of her dalliances, anybody that works in that office with her is subject to being knocked out of the box. So it's not only herself, but her coworkers. Well, now that's just, if I were her coworkers in the same office, oh, you mean you worked for Fannie Willis, the one that was, you mean you didn't know about it and you didn't turn her in? Because all them prosecuting attorneys, if they found out their boss was, doing something that was illegal, they should turn her in. And if they knew about it and didn't do it, then they're culpable. Bye, guys, Fulton County. Oh, there's a bunch of people that should sue her. Anybody that has had a case with her since she hired this other guy, if she was part of the deal, they should at least have those cases reviewed, if not dismissed. And if they were reviewed, it might be that some of them are dismissed because, what is she doing? She's trying to make a name for herself. So in prosecuting Trump, and also by putting more people in jail for whatever reason, it's like it pumps up her average, right? So if they can find out, wait a minute, there was 20 people that she put in jail in the last 3 years that don't need to be there. They should be on probation or something, or, or their sentences were too strict or something. And having been prosecuted in the state of Georgia, I understand a little bit about that, but not in Fulton County, which is Atlanta. So one of the counties in Atlanta. There's Gwinnett County, Fulton County. There's another one up there, but anyway. But so with that said, these people up there and Fannie Willis and the guy that's her boyfriend, okay, he's hunting camel toe, he's hunting snatch, and she paid him $900,000. Why not? Well, but he's going to go to jail with her, but she's the one that's going to go to jail first, hopefully, I know there are a lot of us down here in South Georgia that are pissed off about it. It's embarrassing on a national level. Now, here, she has used the race card, okay? And I don't want to. But here is a Black woman, prosecuting attorney for Fulton County, one of the largest, in counties in the state of Georgia, and a large population in any state. On a national level, prosecuting the president of the United States, but and doing what she's doing. Like an idiot, can we all say it together? Dumbass, a dumbass, what, you dumbass. But here, it makes Black people look bad, okay? Hawkeye, what do you mean? Well, she and her Black dalliancer, lover, have reached these high standard places within Atlanta, in the state of Georgia. Ain't no slouch, but in Atlanta, prestigious, right? Fulton County has spouted off all these things about the last president, Trump. And instead of being able to stand up proudly as a representative of the Black race, as a representative in Georgia and in Atlanta, where they used to hang Negroes back in the day. So, I mean, the progressive state of things, here she is in a position to really show off that anybody can make it. A Black woman in the state of Georgia can make it to a high place in you know what I mean? So, and then she blows it. Then she absolutely blows it. And didn't just blow it, she's a dumbass. Nationally, she's a dumbass. Where's she going to get a job after this? You know? Yeah, how about being a representative of the people in whole? Absolutely. Well, she's a prosecuting attorney. And if somebody had really done something wrong, then it should be her duty as a prosecuting attorney. Agreed. But, you know, especially for the people of Georgia, because Trump disagreed with the results. Hillary still disagrees with the results from 8 years ago, let alone, you know, Trump to have to say, well, wait a minute, you know, where did these extra votes come from when I was leading, you know, at 11:35 and the polls closed and by 2 a.m. all of a sudden I'm, you know, 60,000 in the hole. Where did them votes come from? A legitimate question. But so from that story, he's being prosecuted for that, you see, for asking and arguing against it. Well, but these folks were after him because the news now shows, because the dumb black guy, the boyfriend, has to write out what it is he was doing so that he could bill, you know, for his services. So it shows that he was in the White House for a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour meeting with the White House lawyers just before they filed suit against Trump. So the fact that Biden says they didn't know anything about it, well, apparently because he wrote down where he was and, you know, not what he said, but, you know, 8 hours at the White House. Really? You went to the White House from the state of Georgia. You went to the White House and was let in, and they were expecting you, apparently, because you just don't walk in the White House unannounced, right? So they knew he was coming to have the conversation about how they could get Trump in the state of Georgia. So then he went back to Atlanta. They charged him this and that. Then he went back to Washington for another meeting within a, you know, a relative side. And, you know, here we are now. But, you know, the state of Georgia is $900,000 in the hole because of what she paid her boyfriend. $900,000 in the hole. Me, as a Georgian, I'm pissed, you know. $900,000 in the hole. 900,000. Yeah. Almost $1 million, just shy of $1 million. I couldn't go on vacation last year, you know, and $900,000 to prosecute the former president of the United States. What the fudge, ma'am, you know. So if this ain't stupid, stupid is as stupid does, oh my God. But what's going to come out a little bit of, so I'm worried for the folks within the prosecuting attorney's office, because there are other attorneys that work there, and you can bet, you know, the governor is going to want to know about this, and they're going to send in the GBI and other investigators, and maybe even the FBI, because, you know, these folks are prosecuting an ex-president. So the FBI might go, wait a minute, this is collusion here with the White House. Wait a minute. Biden said they didn't know nothing about this. And we've got right here on this piece of paper where this guy's been to the White House twice. What? So that's fraud on a whole nother scale. So that's collusion. That's what? They made it up. They did it on purpose. And what? From the White House and to the state of Georgia. What? Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be, it's already fun. And it's just, the 17th of January. We are just barely into this year and they're already, so this crazy dumbass. Here's this supposed to be an intelligent black woman who's been on national television and news propagating this stuff, has just showed how much of a dumbass she is. I'm sorry. I feel sad for black folk, really, because it's, as they say, it's about race. Well, she'd been talking about race the whole time. Well, here you are, a successful black woman using your race to do this. Not to say that a white person wouldn't do it, but here you are, supposed to be representing your class in the state of Georgia and nationally since you started this, and you're going to be a dumbass. Black people ought to shun that woman. They will. They'll turn their backs and go, any of you all who support that woman, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. So I don't want to project, but there are some black folk who literally want to whoop her ass. Literally want to whoop her ass. They want to take her out back and whoop her ass. There's some white people too, but because they're white, they can't do it. But there's some black folk that would gladly do it, because look what she's done to the black community, especially in Atlanta. You can't trust that woman. And how many people, how many of you are friends with her? Well, I used to be a friend. When? Yesterday. You were a friend of Miss Fannie Willis yesterday. After I saw this, I ain't her friend no more. I don't want that woman come around me. And yeah, but you've been friends with her for a long time. Yeah, well, but I ain't friends with her no more. You don't think that's going on right now? Atlanta is a buzz with stay away from me. I don't know you, girlfriend. How many of them had her punani? You mean her camel tail there? So I know one thing. The state of Georgia has been fucked royally to the tune of $900,000 plus. What? Yeah, the state of Georgia has just bent over. And, if that money's coming out of only Fulton County, well, that's even worse. Really, Fulton County's paying for it? Well, at least, but it is. They always say it's paint. It's all pink on the inside, Scotty. But and as far as I know and can attest, it is pink on the inside. But anyway, shame on me. But anyway, I didn't say anything. Pink on the inside, but so for the state of Georgia and for the folks up yonder, I'm going to have to get I'm going to have to start looking at the Atlanta Journal to find out what the real scoopy poop is going on in Atlanta. Because the Atlanta Journal, they'll print stuff that will never get to national television. And there are Democrats who are severely pissed off at this. There are black folks that are severely pissed off at this. So, and then there's just the general public who are pissed off about this, right? Especially the more that comes out about it. And the fact that nobody told, nobody knew, nobody this. Hey, Steve, how are you? You sent that cold weather down here. Oh, I got to go put some logs on the fire too. But I don't know how much more time I got on my cell phone here before I got to recharge. And I have to not do a live stream while I'm recharging. But anyway, but in this thing about humanity, so one thing is to not get too upset over the craziness. And you go, well, Hawkeye, what do you mean? Look, get pissed off for 10 minutes like we have talked about before. Be a human being. Good night, off the hook. So be a human being and be mad, but for 10 minutes. And then calm down. We all got to keep an eye on this craziness. But as me and other folks have stated, not just myself, but a lot of folks are talking about stay out of the chaos now. And I've been talking about stay out of the chaos for a long time. We need to be the observer. And, if somebody needs some help, we step in. But basically, we stay out of the chaos. We keep an eye on the stupidness, and when it's like, how many of us now should make good comments about we're glad that they found out about Fannie Willis and her dalliance and $900,000 charged to Fulton County in the state of Georgia for this prosecution. Well, Scotty boy, if you know what you're doing and you can take that dive, go for it. But there are a lot of people who are just scared shitless of stuff, and they're just trembling and they're upset, and so they don't know where it's coming from. Well, I heard this thing about the nukes, and I heard this thing about Russia, and I heard this thing about the new virus X, and I heard this thing about this, and I heard and so there are people who just, and especially if you listen to Rachel Maddow, like that crazy, bitch, her little tirade thing last night. Oh my God. And the fact that NBC supports it and encourages it is like, I'll never listen to them sons of bitches again. Never. You're out of here. I'm sorry. It's one thing for a commentator to break in, and Donald Trump has said his speech, and I know we've heard the stuff before, but there's politeness, then there's rudeness, and then there's just being downright crude, rude, and Rachel Maddow was rude, crude, and just so for her and NBC, for her, they should put out a retraction. They won't. We'll see what happens in South Carolina. But to the point of this, though, we are the ones that go, sorry, I'm not ever going to, and we tell them in their things, I'm not going to watch your news any longer. Rachel Maddow is, if she's your front runner for this, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. And neither are my friends. And, the major networks are losing, like people who watch The View are getting shorter and shorter. And some of the people who are watching The View are watching to see what kind of stupid shit Whoopi's going to say next. They're not watching it to agree with what's going on in The View, because there've been so many people who are appalled by what these women say. that now people are watching just to see what is that crazy bitch going to say next. So their viewership is down, but who's viewing it has changed, I guarantee. Because when I used to watch it a little bit here and there and this and that, and now I just want to throw up, you know. So they lost me and other people because they don't like the way these women present some of this stuff. They may sort of agree with them a little bit, but the way it's presented, they don't like. And so that black lady with the blonde hair, that I don't know her name, but oh my God, she is the most, talks about race, and she is the most racist. It's like you just trying to listen to her. Like, what? Yeah, she may not be a woman. But yeah, she's a black woman who has dyed her hair this blonde. It's like, who are you trying to be there, lady? If you are considering yourself a lady, but anyway. But so this stretch of women, ha ha ha, right, is supposed to represent women in America, or possibly in other places too. And I look at them and go, man, I know some drunk rednecks that don't talk like this when they're drunk, and they don't feel like this. They may be sort of Republican, but they don't talk about the Democrats like that. I mean, they don't like them, and Biden is a moron, and we hope nothing happens to him, because Kamala would just be horrible as a vice president, and the military would have to take over, and but these women on television say these things that are lies. A lot of them are just out, like they still want to say that Trump was in collusion with Russia, and that he still peed on the beds with the hookers. They are still pushing that narrative when it was proven that it was all wrong. They still bring it up to remind people, oh, this is what we think of Trump. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't he, he wasn't found guilty of that. Doesn't matter. He was charged with it. Yeah, but he wasn't found guilty. He didn't just get off. He wasn't found guilty. There was nothing there. And there are people who admitted that they lied. Yeah, but Trump did it. Trump incited the riot at January the 6th. Really? Well, when you look at some of this stuff and how the Capitol Police are walking around with the folks, and they're walking through the building and all, and it's like, it ain't. Now, was there some stuff going on? Yes. But was it to the extent? No. And what about those people who kept inciting the riot, as it were? Come on, let's all go. Come on, let's push the fence down. Who were those people? And they know who they are, because they were plants. Those folks were planted in with the crowds. They've admitted it, but they won't say how many or who it was. But they admit, the FBI and the CIA and the NSA, all them folks admit that they had plants in the crowd. So, oh, but it was the American people who did it. No, they didn't. The American people were maybe whipped into a mob-like kind of mentality, but no, it was other people. It was the government with hidden spies within a crowd who helped to stir the crowd up, just like they did in old Westerns. 2 or 3 guys were paid to, like, yeah, let's hang him, come on, let's lynch him, and they all work for the boss over there. And then the people in the street are like, yeah, let's hang him, let's lynch him, so it's the same deal. They took the scenario right out of, an old Gunsmoke episode, So, or take your pick, of Westerns. But Blazing Saddles, there you go. I want to shoot the, you know. But to the point of all this, this almost in a way looks like a cowboy hat with a, but not quite. Um, so we as a society, we as humanity, it should be our job, and now we need to speak up without being rude. Because as soon as we show rudeness to these folks, we're not that it's going to get discounted. So we can't go over there and say, well, you stupid sons of bitches, you ought to know better. God damn it. Nah. We need to approach it like grown-ups and go, excuse me, but we the people feel that your line of thinking is wrong. And we think you should cease and desist and stop what you're doing, whatever it is that they may be doing. And we speak up. And honestly, whatever we say, they will take it as rude. Yes, I agree with that. But if we act rude, really, then other people can come back and go, yeah, that really was rude, But if you're not rude, then other people who go back and go, well, wait a minute, I don't see where this was rude, And the thing is that our intent can't be rude either. That's one of the weird things. Because in the universe, there are times when we have to forgive, like them priests that did me wrong. I got to forgive them sons of bitches, and try not to curse them every time I bring up the subject, yes, uncommon. So we as humanity need to act like grown-ups. Okay, that's what? What? Humanity's a bunch of dumbasses. That's kind of sort of true. So, but years ago, trying to see if I can bring this together. Years ago, when the aliens were talking about, they're going to come down here and be in light workers and all this kind of stuff, and which I fell right into, and I realized that and ET said they weren't coming down here because there wasn't but 10 or 15% of the population of the planet even knowed what's going on, let alone be a light worker or understand, right? So let's all work on that. So I started working on it. And about then is when I started my channel here. And so about the time when I started talking with Brian and other folks, and it's like, okay, so how do I promote this? How do I bring this about? How do I talk to my spirit guides, and are they giving me the right information? And there are other people that I'm listening to that I thought were giving me good information, and uh, there was they gave me a lot of correct information, but some of it was like, well, we're all going to get taken to another planet, and we're all going to be, we're all going to ascend to this other thing, and they're all going to do this, and I'm like, oh, they crap in the back. But a lot of this other stuff was like kind of sort of, pretty much on key. So, but ain't seen that other planet Earth yet. We ain't blipped into another reality yet. The bad guys have not been taken out yet. Justice has yet to be served yet. So one could say there's a Yeti on the loose, because it has Yeti to be done. Ooh, that was a bad one, but true. So, that this person was supposed to, and I mean, like Hillary Clinton should be in jail for what she did and the this and the that, regardless of the fact that she bombed Gaddafi and them and stuff. And what about Obama? He was a murdering bastard with the drones. We got, this guy. Yeah, but you killed 20 innocent people with that bomb, with that rocket that went off in that village. You dumbass. Yeah, but we got him. No wonder that folks around the world hate the United States. Hate Obama. Don't hate me. You know, hate that guy. And the fact that Biden and his son did what they did back then and put this Zelensky guy into the Ukraine, which has started the war with Russia. So they want to blame it on Russia when it ain't Russia's fault. It's the United States' fault. It's Obama and Biden and Hunter Biden who did what they did in the Ukraine. It's all there. It's all public knowledge. But people are looking at it and they go, well, I don't see nothing wrong. You don't see what's wrong going on here? And then when Putin speaks up and says, well, the UN is not supposed to be on our border with rockets and nuclear warheads. That's supposed to be part of the deal. And guess what? There are rockets. Anyway. But who did it? Biden and son and Obama. It's common knowledge. So it's like, oh, wait a minute. Did that really happen? Yes. So could we have stopped it as a society? Well, as a society, we can bring it up and go, what the hell are you people doing? There are a bunch of us speaking up about Biden. What is he doing? I haven't heard enough people say, why are we bombing folks in Yemen? We got no business over there. Well, they're shooting homemade rockets over onto cargo ships in the Red Sea, I think it is. And so I was like, yeah, well, that could be a problem, but shouldn't somebody over there take care of it? Shouldn't we as America be paying somebody else, like the Syrians or the Saudis who live there, to say, hey, send one of your fighter planes over there and bomb them sons of bitches? We Americans, it might be an American ship, but it's y'all's place, and you should be protecting this, the sea there and all the sea going, vessels and so forth. That should be your responsibility, not ours, unless we are now going to, for every American ship, then it will be American planes or whatever that protect them through there. Okay. Then if one of your boats is under attack for whatever reason, we just ain't going to come and help you. Listen, you can turn the other cheek, but that don't mean that slap's going to hit you. You can turn it, but you might have your hand up and go, but I'm going to turn the other cheek, but that don't mean you're going to hit me. That don't mean your punch is going to land or that it's going to affect me. So turning the other cheek just means go ahead, mofo. See, but Jesus wasn't thinking that. As far as we know, maybe he was. Jesus might have been going, wait a minute now. You slap me once, slap me twice, but I got a shiv. I got a shiv right here. So but in the Christ consciousness of things, And, this could go with Muslim and other folks too. Peace be upon you. And it's like, if it was a ritual for the Jewish community or whatever the sect or whatever it was that, bless the house, or it was like they put a sign on the cross, or they did something at the doorway, left a flower. They did something if they went to somebody's house to bless the house. So just saying, if we were just to be more conscious of those kinds of things in this day and time, when other people we may be, out of the chaos, or like Scotty, he could be diving in anytime he wants to do, but that other people are like, we're all in the observer mode and we're physically staying out of it, but we got an eye on it, versus other people who are so wrapped up in the chaos they can't stop. There is a difference. So the more of us that come out of the chaos and are aware, I'm in charge of me. And there are other folks like me. We're in charge. We see the craziness going on, but we don't agree. Now you may be a Democrat. Okay. You may be, a libertarian, whatever JFK Jr. is. Okay. RFK, excuse me. You may be a Republican. You may be an independent. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you going to vote? That's what matters. And what matters is, are you going to keep your head about it? Because we need to have discussion. I think RFK Jr. has said quite a few things like, we need to have discussions. We need to have debate. We need to learn from one another, but we also need to learn to compromise and accept the compromise. Not say, well, I'm going to compromise just because you want me to. No, 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 no. We need to find a compromise. And you in your heart says, well, I may not agree with this 100%, but I am going to 100% go along with this. Well, I'm doing this because my constituents want me to. Well, okay, if you're a senator or a congressman, then you should be doing what your constituents want. And we as constituents need to speak up. So how, as society, as humanity, do we help shape this? We get in touch with our congressmen. We get in touch with our senators. And this time around, we voice our opinions. But we can't do it by screaming at them. We got to do it correctly, you know? So no capital letters, don't scream at them, do not, do not put cap locks on and send them stuff. Protect themselves before running. I was gifted with a free thinking mind. There are some things as a collective that I'm not going to go to some rallies or whatever, but if there's somebody that that I really believe in, or that I've been to a couple of things over the years, but if there's somebody that I really am curious about, I want to go meet them. I want to go see them in person. I want to see for myself. I don't, well, I could watch it on TV. Yeah. But I want to be up close and personal. Now, I might not get a chance to go shake their hands, but I'm going to be there at the rally. I'm going to watch how other people are reacting. I'm going to listen to what other people are talking about. And, because I want to hear what the pitter patter of voices say, as to what folks are saying under their breath, or they may be saying it out loud, but find out the pulse of the people, you know, as to what they feel about this person. I might feel a particular way, but let me hear what others got to say about this. Uh, I don't claim to know shit, but I will stand by what I think I know. Yeah, I agree with you there, Scotty boy. And with the open mind, I think you are too. Um, I'm willing to change my opinion. I'm willing to change my mind with new information, but I will stand behind what I know, at least up to this point. You know, somebody, or I get some, oh, holy shit, I didn't know that. Well, I guess I just changed my mind about something. You know, there are things like we knew something was up with the crazy witch up in Atlanta, right? So now that she has shown herself and shown what's going on and so forth, it's like that pit in your stomach has sort of gone away a little bit, in that you knew something just wasn't right, and you go, well, I can't put my finger on it. Yeah, well, now we can kind of put our finger on it as to what it sort of was, and it was conspiracy from the beginning, from the beginning, and they used a black woman in the South as the scapegoat and as the guinea pig, and now she is suffering. But she acted like a dumbass. He wrote down the right thing, but it ended up being the wrong thing, meaning he billed so many hours to the state of Georgia because he was in the White House. What were you doing on this day and how many hours? Well, I was at the White House. And he could have falsified that and said, well, I was in D.C., not the White House. No, they let you in the White House. And you spoke, as per your notes, to the White House legal staff. So you weren't there to shake hands with anybody, or, you know, but you were there for several hours because you're billing them, you know, and you were at the White House with the legal team at the White House. Okay. And then you went back. Just saying. You know, so did folks know? Yeah. Oh, this is going to be wonderful to watch. But here's the thing. Just not that White House, huh, Scotty? Yeah, blessings and peace be with you too, Katniss. Have a great day. And, you know, take in a deep breath and send us all a picture of what the UK looks like in our heads. What do I think about the Charistus, the Cause, and Dante? Um, I'm glad I'm on their side. And I'm glad they know I'm on their side because I've posted videos. And several years ago, they copied my video and put it on their channel. So I know that they had an eye on me, you know, and I have obviously had an eye on them. Do I believe that the Charistas are here? Absolutely. I've seen myself. What do I think of Dante? Over the years, I feel that at some previous life, he and I have done battle together. I he did a video one time and actually kind of sort of reprinted it here recently. I'm not sure if it's still up, but he made comment about, remember this video I showed you years ago, and it was us and we were at battle and we were doing this thing, and I went, holy crap, that's the video, that the one that I felt like when I saw it the first time. um you know, there was a portion of the clip that it still looks like that today. I mean, it was all them hundreds of years ago, but the castles and things are still there. So I had a triggered flashback that, having never been there or seen a movie about it or nothing, I was like, holy crap. So I think, that's where I learned how to be a swordsman, because something in my previous life, I've learned how to, wield a sword, not weld one, but wield one. So, but anyway, um, so the cause is the Christ consciousness. The cause is to get rid of some of these crazy Mater and the Vlash and maybe some other nasty critters who are working to destroy us. 27th August. Any Dante follower would understand. Yep. And he was born at the beginning of September, too, by the way. So they would both born under the sign of the Virgo. By the way, Katniss. So, but so as far as the cause, I don't have any special information, but I do know who I'm working for spiritually, and it ain't the bad guys, you know. So and because I'm an ex-Catholic, and because of how I felt growing up and so forth, um, and my connection with Mother Mary, and I feel that my own spirituality that was connected with Jesus back in the day when I was in high school and so forth, being an altar boy and those types of things. Um, but that I am committed to the Christ consciousness, not to any Christian religion, mind you, but I am absolutely 110% with the Christ consciousness. And for my belief and understanding, for what I know, that is the basic core belief of the cause. So who are you working for? Well, I'm working to help people. I'm working, if I get the chance, I've allowed strangers to come into my home and so forth over the years to try to help them. And I've fed folks and done things. And I'm still of that ilk. Why am I doing this? No offense to y'all, but why am I doing this silly, broadcast thing here on YouTube that most people would, say, what the hell are you doing, Dave? Yakking about this stuff, and who in the fudge are you? Well, I'm just another human being trying to do something for the cause. And the cause is for peace. The cause is for peace be unto you. And I might not understand what's going on they're fighting it out over there in the Ukraine and over in Europe and stuff, where not so much visibly seen over here. Not that there ain't, but I'm still working for the cause. I'm working because I want to see peace. I'm working because if there are angel beings who are trying to get rid of the nasty Vlash and it's a 20 after. Ooh, God, it's been 3 hours, 2 hours, huh? Thank you, Scotty. So, with that said, I believe him, Dante. He's got nails and things and this and that. He's got proof of stuff. And there's too much information that, as I've watched him over the last 15 or so years, um, he's got stuff that he's shown that it's hard for me to say he's a liar. I'm just saying. And there's just something in my own gut that says he's telling the truth, you know? And the thing about reincarnation, late Brian and David when he had a lady friend staying with him. Yeah, there was a lady staying here. We had there was no partner thingy, you know. Yep. And I feel used and abused after that because she left all of her stuff here, all of her stuff, just left it for me to deal with. Sir, you are aware of the cause. They create YouTube channel to share their information. I know, and thank you, but they rebroadcast one of my videos several years ago. I'm very much aware of them. So, Ragul, I'm with you, and I know about their channel. I've not had any personal contact, but I absolutely feel that I've had spiritual contact, and that I was sort of let know by some channels that there were beings that were watching out for me. And so in the last several years, especially after whatchamacallit is no longer here in the house, my connection to my spirit guides has been much stronger and clearer. And so I don't know what that interference was when she was here, but it was not welcome. And so I have felt used and abused in several ways. And I'll just leave it at that. Glad it's over. But in my defense, I did try to help. And I think she had an underlying agenda, obviously, because she wanted out of Tampa. So, I was like, well, okay, that's that. But I hold no grudges. But it cost me a lot of time and a lot of heartache on my part to deal with the stuff she left behind. So, but anyway, that to me that was just wrong. Anyway, I understand in the dream she wasn't nice to me. Oh yeah? And I don't know how, Geraldine, and I really don't want to get into it too much, or actually, I'll just say this about it. Her being here somehow was interfering with my connection. And it was almost like somehow she was rewriting some of the time in my time in the mystery, and oh, you were used and abused, but it costs you extra. Yep. Yeah, everything is a lesson, but it was hard to understand. Like I would never, yep, good or bad. I would never want to try to enter someone else's dream or try to influence their, we can have a conversation, but I'm not going to like meditate on trying to change your mind unless you're a drug user or an alcoholic, and I'm trying to ask the universe to help you to come over it. But I mean, if we just disagree on a couple of subjects or something, I'm not going to try to like mesmerize you or go use my ESP to go in and try to change your way of thinking or go into your dreams and try to, or anything like that. I just, that's rape. That's an invasion of privacy on a totally different level, but it's rape. It's an invasion of, so in so many ways, I feel like I was raped in that manner. Yeah, there were times when I shouldn't have been a gentleman, I'll tell you. She accused me of giving her leukemia. Out here in the yard with several people as witnesses, she accused me of giving her leukemia. You don't just give somebody leukemia. And I would never wish or will that on someone in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't, leukemia don't act like that. But she accused me of giving her leukemia. Oh, it's okay, Geraldine, because it's one of those things that, and talking about this, that see, I can speak about it without being angry anymore. So I don't have any anger in my conversation. Lessons without adversity, we'd have no evolutionary pressure, and without that, there is no growth or development. I disagree with a lot of has to say, yet I still love him. It's not my call to decide who did right or wrong. Right? Yep. Well, so in that, you know, there are folks who still, not, I'm not saying her, but there's still folks that would, harbor grudges for years and years and years and years. And it's like part of the lesson was, no, you can't do that with this, even though there's a bunch of her stuff here, and there's still some of her stuff here, because I just couldn't throw it away. It just was not right. But the fact that I still have to look at some of her things, and which is always a reminder, it's like, well, wait a minute now, hang on here. So can't be, I couldn't hold a grudge. So in this of we've got to forgive other people in the world is one reason why we can discuss this now, is because other people need to, it's over with. Yeah, but he did such and such. Well, now if he needs to go to jail, he needs to go to jail. Justice should be justice. Um, I'm just saying, if a girl named Nikki ever shows up here, you never saw me. Ah, Nikita, Nikki. Yep. So, but in the grand scheme of the world and of the universe, and also, in forgiving in the universe, you gotta, like Dante says, you can forgive, it doesn't mean you're going to forget, you know. So, but it, depending on the amount of hurt, right? Um, if somebody has, done something and a friend of yours got killed because of it, that, I could forgive you for being a dumbass, but I ain't going to forget what you did because it was that serious. Now, some of the things that were done to me weren't that serious. They were serious to me, but they weren't life threatening in that sense. But um, realize, accept, forgive, and move on. Yeah, pretty much so far. I never wanted to be on my own. It's been about 11 years for me too, Geraldine. And I always thought that I'd be sitting on the back porch holding hands and hugging and kissing and, and sharing. And we'd be going places and doing stuff together. And, and, my dear friend Martha, we didn't do the hugging and kissing stuff, but we went on, we did a lot of things together, and I miss her, but not in the same way I would miss a lover or, someone closer. But, I just always felt like, of course, wishful thinking, but, here I end up being a hermit. Um, and that's a lesson, hardest is forgiving yourself when it's not your fault. Yeah. And forgiven because it's like part of it is my fault. You know, I should have like paid attention. Like, well, do you think this is a good idea? Yeah, go down and do this and blah, blah, blah. And then while you're doing it, you're going, I think I'm messing up here. Well, yeah, but we made a commitment. We said we'd do it. And then as you're doing it, you go, maybe this was not such a good idea. But I'm committed now. It's here and done with and got to deal with it, right? Who fellas need to be in a relationship? It's just my makeup. That's all. It's just my makeup. I'm a romantic. I like to give flowers. I like to open the doors for women. You know, I like to be polite to them. You know, depending, I like to buy them things, gifts. Little presents. Not necessarily ornamental things. Like, well, I just wanted to buy her a diamond necklace. Nah. I might buy a pendant or a crystal or something, but nah, I'm not into the sure enough worldly items thingies. Never was. Well, to my wife, um, when I first got married, we buy your ring and do these things and blah blah blah. But then it was just like, I just picked the wrong women. And now my last girlfriend, not a wife, I miss our relationship, but distance and medical issues was our. Oh, we did miss a 20, didn't we? That's why I'm stirring my bowl. But with and I'm not dead yet, so who knows? Maybe I'll go talk to the little redhead and tell her how I feel, you know, and just see what happens. No boyfriends, no toys. That's funny. I don't have any toys either. Um, just saying, they've got toys for men now. I mean, what battery operated things? Here's my biggest thing about some of this stuff. Who's going to do cleanup on aisle 4? What? Guys, I'm just saying, they got all these things. Who's going to clean up on aisle 4? Yeah, you called it, and I'm going to catch up. And so Sir Comes-a-Lot's going to have a mess to clean up. I'm sorry. What? You got to, I'm sorry. Here's my date. Here's my date. Oh, yeah, some of these contraptions, the end result ends up in the contraption. Okay. So it's like, what? So who's going to clean it up? You just going to throw it away? Well, you use this contraption to pleasure yourself. Okie dokie. But so who cleans it up? Well, no offense. I don't want to be the person to clean it up. Sorry, I wouldn't buy one of them things for that reason, Look at the mess you got to clean up. You got to go in here. You got to this. You got to put it in the dishwasher. Now, could you imagine some single guy? His Bubbles can clean that up. Hell, she costs, oh, Bubbles, I got you. Pam and her 5 sisters. Yeah. Pamela. Palmela. Get it? Anyway, that's enough of that. But the fact that they're selling them, the fact that somebody came up with them for erotic pleasure. Certain things are like obvious. You can do things with a banana, or a cucumber, and have seen said things being used. Um, you know, but so the amount of money in the industry that's going on, just as a curiosity, there's got to be $1 billion, even in free porn, because there are these advertisements and things and this and that. And, if you went on the ocean, you could be with a bunch of seamen, but you can buy a bottle of stuff that will give you more semen. How about that one for a joke? What? So there's all of these things. Well, maybe you can, but I don't roll with bananas personally. I don't either, but never mind. That's just enough information. Too much information. I wanted to be a nun and join the army running away, but nope. Yeah, I wanted to be a priest, not necessarily run away. I was seriously, wanted to save souls, even as a teenager. I guess it was that vision of Mother Mary in the woods, that kind of sort of prompted me. And my conversations with her before I left the church. I've had a couple of conversations since, and that's why I'm here now. But anyway, not necessarily talking about this, but anyway, but as a younger person, you don't necessarily think about these kind of things that happen to you when you get older. So in my retrospecting of things, I go, I've always tried to be polite. I've always tried to be a gentleman. I've always tried to, compromise. If anything, Scotty, it's somebody that she met me back when there was some kind of Google something. So we would get together and do live streams between us, and just have conversation. And so I don't know, we chatted for maybe a year or more, maybe less, but a while. And it came to the point where she was like, well, I would love to get out of Florida and out of Tampa, and and living in the country like you do, that'd be great. And think of the things we could do together, and I could help you and all this. So I went down and picked her up and brought her and all of her stuff up here. And it had nothing to do with romance. It was friend to friend. And even as friend to friend, it did not work, because she had an agenda that I was not aware of. And then when I became aware of it, I was like, that wasn't nice. Because some of the things we talked about and some of the things we talk about now. And she was trying to tell me, well, I know I saw you in my dream last night, and this is what it means. And it was like, what? What are you doing in my dreams? You ain't got no business there. Ain't nobody supposed to be there unless I invite them, and I ain't invited you. You know, what the hell's going on here? So there was interference on a lot of levels. And then she got diagnosed with leukemia and then just decided to go back to Florida, which I'm glad of that. But she left all of her belongings here, except a couple of items, beds and clothes and dressers and stuff, and just all of her stuff. And that's that's abuse right there. I know she had gotten out of the hospital with leukemia and stuff, but could have handled it better. And then she accused me in front of a bunch of people here at my house that I gave her leukemia. Now, that's pretty much the story. So there was a lot of other little things along the way, but that's pretty much it. So I hold no grudges or anything. The intent, I think, was pure. I'm not sure about her because she did want to help me out. She did want to do, and she did do some things here on the farm, but there was a mental somehow something. She thought she knew what was best for me spiritually, and well, this is what it means for this. And I was down in the woods doing a ceremony one time and placing rocks out. And when I got done with the ceremony, as I'm picking up my stuff, she goes over and starts messing with the rocks that I placed out. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? I just literally finished a ceremony. And you're going over there and rearranging the rocks? Yeah, agreed, Scotty. Boy, that ain't the first time something like that's happened. But to the point, that's what we were talking about. But so I'm down there in the woods, and I had laid rocks out down there in the woods before, near where this portal has showed up, and I've got these rocks out, and I have done a ceremony. I have blessed each rock and have placed it myself, north, south, east, west, in this small configuration. And she goes over there mucking with it. And I wanted to hurt her. You know, I mean, what? She goes, well, you don't have the feminine in this. And I was like, how do you know? I said, that's not the point. I put the rocks out, north, south, east, and west. What is it? What is this? Well, because now here's something. She was a lesbian, but she wanted to put female energy into it, which I thought was very ironic. But it was like, no, you keep your hands off of that. I just got, do your own rocks over there or something. But you went over there and repositioned the rocks I just put down. I want to slap you and hurt you. That's just wrong. And you're supposed to understand the Indian way and this. And are you serious? Well, that's what happened on one occasion. And it was like, holy crap. No, but if I want to include feminine, then I think of the goddess and I think of other things, while I'm doing the ceremony. But here's the thing, the ceremonies I do aren't male or female, they're both. So for somebody to say, well, you didn't put any female energy in it, it wasn't necessary, number one, because it's supposed to be both. It's not one or the other. Well, because you're a man, then you only put male energy into it. Well, what I'm trying to do is just put shaman energy into it. I'm trying to only be a medicine man in this. I'm not supposed to be male or female even though I'm a guy. Okay, okay. But as a shaman, I am just a spiritual person, not male or female, trying to bridge the gap and do the thing with the spiritual and the human thing. It ain't about male and female. There are times when there are ceremonies that can be male or female. But in this particular instance, setting out 5 rocks and placing them in a north, south, east, west configuration with blessings, so if I wanted to go down there, somebody else, you could, it was sort of like a really small beginning to a medicine wheel. And she had no business, messing with any of it. So, but anyway, that was one of the things she liked to interfere. She goes, "Well, I want to intervene because I'm a female," and I'm like, okay. Um, but the female energy, and it's gonna be like this, and I'm like, chill, you know. In a dream, a lady was paid to kiss me. No, not me, thank you. Paid to kiss you, please. Yeah, I had this really strange here recently, in this last couple of months, the dream business and stuff out of the corner of my eyes, and I was realizing something that I thought I see something over here, and actually I'm seeing the reflection from the inside of my glasses. So almost like I could see behind me. So there wasn't anything right here. There was something back here. I was like, "What you talking about, Willis?" You know. But so in many of these things that are going on, the energies and the energy levels of things and the dream time, holy crap. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing in the dream time, I'm like, okay, um, not sure what that means, but okay, you know. So, but then as it comes along, um, in waking time, there've been like, I look over here, there's almost like it's almost like somebody's face is coming at me. It not in any bad way. It's just that there's somebody here and it's almost like maybe they're passing in front of me or something. But here's somebody and their face is right there and then it's not there. But hopefully not all of them don't come true. Yeah, that's for real. So, but one of the things that keeps coming back to my mind, and even when I'm like, I'm not thinking about it, is being in this spaceship, actually being in a couple of spaceships. And I have thought about it and it's like, well, was that a dream? Was my consciousness in another place at what I think are dreams? Is it something that is going to happen, possibly? Or is it something that's already happened that I'm remembering in a previous whatever? Um, or am I being in two places at the same time? Seeing Dante in Ark 7 years ago in a dream. You never knew about him. It's been an interesting ride, what they know and what Dante knows and the 4 brothers. And it's like, Yeah, Scotty. I had dreams with ongoing relationships and found out that my last wife was poisoning me and that she was seriously trying to do me in. And you know, I quit eating her food and I got well in 3 days. I see the orange thing too. The orange thing. Oh, okay. This one is effed up. Hey, Travis, how you doing? So, in part of this thing, and speaking about Dante, in the sky. Yep. Better. Good, Travis. For most of us are the flash overhead shooting at us? Are we being attacked personally? As far as I know, no, most of us. Is it happening? Yes. Is it happening to you and me? I can't speak for you, but I know it's not happening to me, although the dreams are a little weird here recently. Um, so, for those of us who know enough about Dante, we know enough about what the cause is. So, are you working for the cause? And I'll mean it simply that we're working for the good guys. Which side are you on? Now, I can answer that. You're working for the good guys. I think, you know, if you're here to, maybe Scotty's working for the other side. Who knows? Um, but at least he's polite about it. So, but in the grand scheme of things, do we want to work for peace and so forth for the humanity? The Charistus is working for that. I'm saying, yeah, I'm working for them. Uh, Christus made them, I think. Made what? Oh, the Kaolin or something like that. The last ones that start with a K. Yeah, they said that some of the Charistic actually, uh, um, Thor Crystal. Apparently, Dante in this life um, has had some previous run ins and that they have not agreed. And that for somebody to say, well, I'm going to do this, and everybody else going, well, are you sure about that? And then once you do it, everybody suffers the consequences. So I think it was one of those things like a general, you know, General such and such. Well, like, we could argue that, Dwight D. Eisenhower, you know, General Ike, Ike the Dyke. No, he wasn't a Dyke. Never mind. That, that he signed a whatever kind of treaty or something with the aliens back when he was in, which there's, um, so we could blame a lot of shit on him. But it was all Ike's fault. Well, not to say that he didn't try to fix it, because he did try to fix it, but the war machine took over and he was pushed to the side. They killed Kennedy, and then later on his brother. So, the machine's like, nah, nah, so then what do you do? It was taken. So the people that maybe thought they had control and they signed their names to represent us, and then all hell breaks loose. So let's blame all this ET stuff on Eisenhower. You know, it was his fault. I'm a carpenter. I'm actually called a wood whore. Highest pay gives me. There you go. I used to be that way. When I first got to see him, next night I saw him in dark suit, just smiling. You talking about Dante? Or whom are you talking about, Geraldine? So I can keep up. Because my mind's going through different things. Yeah, and Scotty boy, and don't overvalue yourself. That's another thing. So, but with the Charistus and the cause, I haven't done a 72 plus video in a while. And I was thinking the other day I need to. Um, Simply because, those of us who I would love to be a 72, but I'm too old and there's too much stuff wrong with me. So maybe in another lifetime. I feel like maybe I was one in a previous life because there's just there's just a feeling I get. And like I said, some of the things that Dante has shown on his channel, I go, whoa, that, I get tripped out. It's too familiar, um, which just shouldn't be. But anyway, so do I want to work for the bad guys? The answer is no. I don't want to work for the Flash or the Mater in whatever they think is up. Sorry, the answer's no. I myself have made a commitment before I knew who Dante was and before I knew who the Charistus was or the cause. I had already made my commitment to Christ. Oh, I'm going to have to get done here. My power's dropping. It has dropped. I'm down to 20%. So, but so I've made my commitment as a warrior for Christ. I have made my commitment to you know uh, do just that, be a warrior for Christ, but to be committed to the Christ consciousness and and to preach that, if you will, for what I'm doing. I'm a new age guru, for crying out loud. Take the easy way out, David. It was a what? Previous life, I made a shitload of bad decisions in this go around. Yeah. Um, and to Dante, there were things that I was working out myself. And one of them was reincarnation, for example. And love and protection right back at you, Geraldine. Cosmic hugs, and have a great day. But with the thing about Dante, there were, it was about, he said one time and he kind of leaned in and he was smoking a cigarette. And he said, this is reincarnation. Reincarnation is everlasting life. And it was just like, what? He was talking about all these things. And he leaned in, and about where I am now. And he goes, whatever he was talking about, he goes, reincarnation is eternal life. And he puffed on his cigarette and leaned back. And I went, what did he just say? Actually, she's up in the morning where she's at, Scotty boy. She's in the UK. So good morning to you, Geraldine. Have a great day. Be safe. Watch out for crazies. But so when he leaned in and said that, something hit me. I was like, what? So in my own troubled mind of things, If I feel like I've been here before, I do feel like I've literally been on this property before. So I'm here to rectify some old, I was a nasty mofo. And if this previous life is true and everything, and what I feel and what I've done here, shame on me. And I'm here to correct it and to try to bring the spirits, and so forth here on this piece of property was my job this time around. Part of my job this time around. But part of my job was to have a hermitage. Part of my job was to have a place for people to come and stay if and when they needed it. Doing that. So, I'm still doing what I was set out to do. And as a child at 4 years old, I told everybody that I was going to be a hermit, live in the woods on a river. That's exactly what I'm doing and have been doing it for years. So I have fulfilled my childhood dream, why I was sent here. And I'm just kind of working out the bugs here in my old age to try to figure out the rest of the journey and how to navigate it. Um, so spiritually speaking, when he said, you know, reincarnation is eternal life, is life everlasting, is however he put it very simply. And it was how he leaned in and said it and then sat back. And I was like, oh my God. So if there's anything else about Dante and the things that he's shown and pictures and drawings and other stuff, right? Not leave out the aliens, just look at all this other evidence that he's shown. And so it's like, okay, and the fact that, they live on Jupiter, and that there are other folks that live on other planets here in our solar system, you know, and it's not stagnant. No, these other planets are not just lifeless. No, there are folks living there, have been, inside and outside. And shame on these folks who are trying to promote this that, you know, um, that there's nothing out there, that we are the smartest beings out. No crap, you know. So, but for what I've seen in my own um my own retrograde, how do you what I can't think of it right now. Who was I in a previous life, and doing it through meditation, and in doing it, asking the universe, okay, show me what this means. How come I feel this way? What does this feeling mean? you know Show me, give me a picture, explain it to me somehow if you can. But what does this mean? Or I'm seeing pictures of this. What does that mean? Or does it mean anything? And it might be, ha ha, fooled you. uh you will receive exactly what you believe in. Yeah, but it was at a time and how it happened. How as a 4-year-old tell folks that I'm going to live on a river and be a hermit? My granny, before she died, said, you told us all what you were going to do when you was 3 and 4 years old. Yeah, Grandma, I know. She goes, no, I just wanted to remind you. I still remember, she said, before she passed away. And how many people get the opportunity to live on a river in their backyard? Well, there's so many rivers and there's so much property and stuff like that, but to be a hermit with the woods and so forth, how it happened, it's like, wow, how did I know I was coming here? How I got this place, who sold it to me, and the arrangements we made, it was all up and up, but it was all if these folks had not helped me, I would not have been able to get this place and been able to stay here. So I've had a lot of help from the universe, from the person who sold me the property to just, so, but anyway, been the angels all along. And I find it funny that the women don't necessarily like it here. Well, it is hard to explain. It has to be on a personal understanding. Impossible for us to know how it all works out. Yeah, I ain't got a clue what tomorrow's going to bring. Some friends of mine called and said, it was I going to be home. They were on their way to Thomasville and they might stop by. Okay, I got to go to town and pick up some um, um, medicine at the pharmacy, and it's time for another gallon of milk. And Duggar's food's getting low again, and so are the cat's food. So going to have to make a store run. But other than that, nothing really impossible. But so yeah, I got to go to Moultrie tomorrow. I got to make a town run. But other than that, I don't have a clue. What's my spiritual being going to be like? I can assure you of this. The battery's running down. I can assure you of this. I'm not going to change my mind about working for the Christ consciousness. I will keep working for the cause. And in my humble opinion, working for the cause means to be working for the angel guys, the good guys. I want to work for the good guys. If it weren't the Charistus and it was somebody else, then I would want to work for the good guys regardless. But since the good guys are these angel beings and is the Charistus, then I'm going to work for them, whether they know it or not. I'm a 72 plus. I've been sitting on the bench, but I still do as much as I can for other human beings. I still try to be kind. I still try to, whether Deborah and I got along or not, it was still, I was trying to extend humanity to her to come and live in the country because I moved out of Tampa too. I know what it's like to live down there. The craziness and just the head games and just the energy down there, had to just get away, so in that, and I my my regret with Deborah would be that it didn't work out better. So rather than be mad about the fact that it didn't work out or this or that, okay, okay. So if I was to have a grudge, it was that it didn't work out better. Not necessarily between us, but just she wanted to work on the farm and she wanted to do, and what she said to me, she did not achieve her goals. So, but anyway, a walking contradiction. You are? Yeah, I think all of us are in a little bit. So, um, my battery's running low and I got to wrap this up. So, where do we stand on this? We keep staying in a positive attitude. We encourage others to stay in a positive attitude. We encourage folks by our example. Peace be unto you. What? Yeah. Hi, how you doing? Peace be to you. What? Yeah, to the person behind the counter. Yeah, here's extra change or whatever. Peace be to you. Thank you. Have a great day. What? When you spread it, simple things like that. So humanity starts thinking this way. So where others are trying to lead us astray, we're going to stay on the peace train without being obnoxious, without rattling bells and singing and dancing in sackcloth. We're just going to very subtly change folks' minds, and attitudes simply by saying, "Peace be to you." Yeah, we're here for a damn reason. We got here at this time to experience this shit. And I have thought about this off camera. Why in the hell did I choose now? What the fudge maker was I thinking? Apparently, I wasn't. Oh, it's almost 420, ain't it? A real 420. Oh, I gotta put another topper in this one. I'll hang around with you for the four because and my battery is going to die, so it's not like I wouldn't want to hang out with you a little longer, but it's literally fixing to die. So um, yeah, it'll make it to the 20, but I need to wrap this up. So but anyway, so the fact that I have not checked the last day or two, but I had 596 subscribers. And I never thought I'd hit 500. And now, after these years, and it's not about numbers, it's just a curiosity. But now, after all these years, there's almost 600 subscribers. And I thank you all. I love you. Fixing to, yeah, I'm fixing to. That's South Georgia talk too. That's Southern lingo, my friend. You know, uh, but fixing to go to the store, I'm a fixing to. And it's not fixing. Yeah, thank you. Spell it right, Chloe. That's funny. Because I was just sitting here going, it's fixing with an apostrophe at the end, not fixing. Right. Yeah, you gotta pronounce it correctly, with the right drawl and with the right emphasis on, but so um the fact that without asking, the fact that I've just showed up here to come chat with y'all, like I've said, I don't ask you to like or share. You have, I'm sure, but I've never asked, maybe once or twice, about something, maybe it was a Dante thing, but basically, it took you 10 years. Okay, but there's 600 people who have subscribed to the channel. There are 600 people like you, because y'all are members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, that they, in some way, shape, or form, um, connect with me, which means us. If they spent any time here, it ain't just about me, because it is about how we communicate with each other, whether folks watching actually communicate in the chat room or not. They're participating by watching. But note the fact we're sitting here with you, friend, on our own. Yep. But see, that's just it. We can call each other friends, even though we've never physically met. And I don't know what most of you look like. So, but you've seen my ugly mug a bunch, right? Um, but our interaction together and the love and compassion we show to each other, in my humble opinion, with almost 600 subscribers, Brian's looking down going, yeah, buddy, you know, it ain't about the numbers, but yeah, buddy, 600 people who agree in some way, which means we, the 600, that would be a good, we, the 600, are promoting peace and love. We think enough alike that this is what we wish for. So there could be thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, but there's 600 of y'all that are crazy enough to go to think these basic thoughts. Regardless of religion or what our political views on, we all agree that we want peace and harmony and love, you know. Okie doke. The rest of it should be a piece of cake, but it's not. But for us, maybe. So, but because I'm going to have to wait. Okay, we got 3 minutes. I'm going to start early because my battery's fixing to die. If I just disappear, the battery died because it warned me a few minutes ago it was down to 20%. So I got enough time for the 20. So 600 people who, if 300 people watch this, that's a half. But if 300 people were to agree that, yes, I want peace. Yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah, Dave, I agree with you. I want peace in the world. And I do want love to survive. And, you know, so on these things, we agree. So that gets pushed out there. So if they say, well, they're listening to this at another time, I go, you know what, Hawkeye, you're a crazy old son of a bitch, but I do agree with you that I do wish the world was more peaceful. And I do wish, we could feed the hungry. And I do wish that, that we could, get the homeless places. I do wish things would change within humanity. Guess what? The thought of it is an action. So the fact that I'm here and that anybody might just be passing by and watch, that works too. You don't have to subscribe, but if you stopped and watched and you had a change in your thought pattern and you went, wow, that's not such a harebrained idea after all. Crazy damn hippie, we need more of that in this day and age, and it's like, okay. So the change of thought pattern. So if they yes to peace, yes to love, yes to harmony, then I've won. I've won. If I were to what's my target audience? Don't care. I would like to have half of the people agree with me on peace, love, and harmony. Well, but I got 600 subscribers. Yeah, but do they all agree? But, in my humble opinion, if half of them will agree with me on just those three things, I've won. You know, my job is done here because now their peace, harmony, love is being presented because people are thinking those things and I help, you know. So, and what's wrong with that? So, as a job, as an old 71-year-old, hippie, what is my job? My job is to try to promote these things as simply as possible. So, by being here and having conversation, thoughts and thought waves and the patterns change. Remember, I said 2 hours ago, it's a 20. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm going to wrap this up with this. Happy 20s, and y'all be, cheers, love to y'all. Be safe. I lost my train of thought. It's 20 right now. Yep. And it was 20 20% on my battery. So there's a bunch of 20s going on right now. It's 3:20. I'm live that I 3 hours and 20 minutes. So there's a bunch of 20s right now. And it's an original 420. So happy 420 to y'all across the planet. So are we making a difference? Can we really see it hands on? Is it really working? Is this dumbass idea of mine to just be here and have chats to try to help people just agree on 3 things? You know, Brian, is it working? How am I doing? You know? So I say I'm grateful to the universe for you all subscribers. I'm grateful to you. Yeah, Scotty, just by being a nuisance, you're making a difference. And that's a compliment now, mind you. So, you know, don't take offense, you know, don't get your panties in a bunch or in a wad either. So for me, you know, that I got to meditate and think on and cogitate on all this stuff, you know, like, should I do a video? What subject should I talk about? How to, you know, what's my stuff? And it's like, you know, and my spirit guides will go, turn on the camera. Just turn on the camera. No, I gotta have a topic at least, you know. So what's stopping you from going? Oh, you're all bunched up now. I'll take blame for that, you know. Okay, it's my fault. But there was no ill intent. How it was just a practical joke, you know. Bunching up them panties, you know, them tidy whities, you know. Um, uh, these panties, yeah, I know. The battery's fixing to die. I would hang out with you a little longer, but literally, I'm not lying. My um, and I got to fix this computer so that it'll do other cameras and stuff. I still don't know what the heck's wrong with it. You know what's to mix in some chocolate, that would be good. So anyway, my dear friends, stay warm. Um, I do continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And yeah, you got to keep learning, because if anybody says, I know how to do it, well, what are you talking about? Well, you know, can you put up a tent? Yes. Well, then you might know how to do it. But how are you with what's going on in the universe? Well, I know how to do it. Do you really? Seriously? Well, can you walk through the wall yet? No. Can you do these? No. Then you're not quite there. That's all. I'm not saying you ain't trying. You know, and I understand you're close with nature and all these things, but if you can't do some of these things, then you're not there yet. That's all. That's all. Don't talk. Well, can you do? No, sorry, you can't. Do you understand about this? No. Well, what about? No, don't get that either? Nope. Sorry. Well, then you really are a novice in your shaman spiritual training. Well, how can you judge me? Because you can't answer these questions. That's how I know. You don't pass the test. Well, you don't know me. You're right. But I just asked 5 simple questions that you could not answer that most shaman type medicine people would be able to give an answer. Yeah, being a novice is fine, but there are folks who are barely novices who are claiming to be spiritual masters, is my argument. We're all novices. I know that I'm further along down the road simply because I've been on the road longer than some folks. Some folks say, well, just because you're older don't mean that I can't. Yeah, and you might perceive certain things and start to get a grasp of certain things, but honest to God, only age, just like a good wine or a cheese or whatever, it's got to age. And the only way that you can learn certain things is to age. I, you know, I knew stuff, 30 years ago, but I didn't know it like I do now. It's aged because I have aged and the topic has aged and I have it, the whole thing, the whole situation has aged, you know, with me, at me, not uh, as the topic of the universe, just as me, myself, and I. Okay. Um, just things have changed. My association with other people. I don't do theater, but I do this. I don't play music and with bands and groups like I used to, but I still have my musical instruments, which I promised that I'm supposed to pick up and play again. So there are things, at the times and the frequencies and the energies that are going on. So, what can we do as humanity? Like cheese, the stinkier the better. Yeah. Change your underwear at least once a week, right? Unless you go commando, which, eliminates that, which means you also can't get your tidy whities in a bundle if you go commando. That's what a woman said. But anyway, and she was wearing a dress. Never mind. Well, 30 years ago, I took every drug that came my way. Today, nothing has changed except the drugs that come my way. Well, and that's what's changed for me is that I'm not looking for those drugs anymore myself. I'm not looking for blow. I'm not looking for acid. I'm not looking for, speed and all these other drugs, not looking for them. I'm not looking for that lifestyle and I'm not looking for the high, you know. Uh, I think, I have talked about this before, but, I used to carry around 100 hits of acid in my wallet because they were uh, um, um, in sheets. It was blotter acid. And I could be folded up, a couple of pieces of thin cardboard in my wallet. And, I could carry 100 easy. And I would eat a lot of them. I'd tear one in half and eat it at lunchtime and go back to work in the machine shop and drip right the fuck out. I mean, God almighty. I was talking to my machine but I could do specialty grinding like nobody else in the shop. And I loved it. I loved it. I miss it. And that was on acid, you know. And then later on, but of course, on the weekends and stuff, we had mushroom fields all around here, lots of cows and things back in the day. And I had a couple of mushroom fields that it didn't matter what time of the year, I could always find mushrooms. And it got to the point where you could hear them. Over here, it is like, ooh. And I remember a time when me and Plummer felt, uh, he was just ahead of me, a couple of yards, and we're going through, and it's this time of year, and it's cold outside, and because cows shit. Yeah, man, looking in tall grass about this tall. So they're not just out in the open. And you'd hear this little thing, I'm over here. And you'd go down and you'd have to part the grass and look real close. And there'd be tiny little psilocybin mushrooms, little cap heads on them about that big around, and popped to the top of one of these and popped it in my mouth. And we were looking for, and within 15 minutes, more like about 10, higher than I can remember ever being on this tiny little mushroom that was down in the tall grass. Unbelievable, you know. But anyway, do I encourage that? No. But did I do it a lot? Oh, yeah. So is my mind rewired? Yes. And I have, counted up how many times, and I have tripped at least 500 times, not counting, you know, didn't do too much ecstasy, but not counting weed, not counting, blow, cocaine, not counting just other weird shit we snorted, uh, not counting other pills and stuff, but just acid alone over a period of years, at least 500 times, because I was dropping 2 hits a day. At 2 hits a day, 30 days, that's 60, in 1 month. Think about it. And I was that hooked on acid. And I used to tiptoe through the mushrooms, literally used to sing that, tiptoe through the mushrooms, through the garden. That's where I'll be. I'll tiptoe through the mushrooms with me. With me. There's flowers everywhere. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. You lovely people, thanks for hanging out with me and each other. I appreciate the camaraderie stuff and everything. Travis, it's always good to see you. Y'all ever met a person that thinks they are God's gift to men, but the way they talk and lie continuously makes you feel impotent? Yes, yes. I married a couple of them, Travis, and divorced them. But I'm sorry, Travis. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, and I've really tried, like I think before you got here, but I've really tried, to be, good to women. I mean, I still treat them nice and everything, but, they all, if they want to be an asshole, you go ahead, be a butthole. I'll still treat you politely, but, you know, quote, respect you as a woman. uh, you want me to do what? Respect you as a no, no, I'm sorry. Would you repeat that? Respect you as as a woman. You want me to respect? You do. What? What? Sorry, no. Oh, I treat them well beyond what I should. Yeah, some of them, and some of them, they deserve it, and I don't mind, you know. And they're polite, and they've had their issues with men, but at least they're polite and they'll give a person a chance. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was doing an imitation. Yeah, absolutely. But and again, Krusty the Clown. Yeah, Christy. Well, I knew somebody that was Christy the Clown too. So that you might not have known, but that was extra funny to me. Yeah, and then somebody accused me of not doing enough, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I just come out of the hospital. This battery's going to die any second. Um, I was just coming out of the hospital after my first heart attack, and I got this message is like, "You're not doing enough." And I was like, "For what?" "Well, for humanity. You were an engineer and an architect, and you're a builder, and you're not doing enough." And it's like, I just had a heart attack. I'm crippled in the back. I have trouble with my memory because of all the acid and stuff I've done, and you know, I need help in a lot of issues. And what do you mean I'm not doing enough? Well, you have a YouTube channel. You should be doing more. And it's like, what more do you want me to do? I'm here chatting with folks. I'm trying to encourage folks to, do what they can with their community and this and that. How am I not doing enough? He was like, "Well, I just can't be a part of your community anymore." And I was like, "Seriously?" But it was like, I didn't start this channel to expect anything, you know? I'm here to have conversation like a radio program. And it's like, so let's have conversations about stuff. I've had people come and visit me. Isby came here twice before he passed away. And I was looking forward to him coming back up and honestly going kayaking with him, And the last time I talked to him before he passed away, it was like he was still, wanted to come up and do it, but he didn't know how. And I was like, well, if we can, and then he passed away. But to the point, so, I've met people. I've met Brian. We never met personally, but we were working on it. So I met Brian through this channel. I've met all of you people, and Elderberry and different folks and Chloe and all y'all and Scotty Boy. Can't forget you, right? But to the point though. So what has been my purpose with the channel? I guess it was to meet all you and to make new friends. But have I done enough personally? Well, under my present circumstances and everything, I've done the best I could. Hey, Miss Sheila, like Miss Sheila, my next door neighbor, we become, friends. Of course, they came over and introduced themselves, but I think they found me through the channel. So, my participating and starting this YouTube channel has been beneficial in a lot of ways, not just necessarily directly for me, but because we have met and exchanged ideas and things, and that has been a benefit. So, have I done enough in the universe? I don't know what I was expected. I just started this and said, okay, y'all, show me and direct me, and we're going to do the best we can under the circumstances. Here we are. So I think it's wonderful. Um, Good morning, Sheila. I I hope you're warm enough. I got to go see if I can go put another log on the fire for it. The coals are dead. But I got enough wood here in the house, and it's not really bad. Um, it was 58 in here earlier this afternoon, right at 6:30. And I put in wood in the pot-bellied stove. I've got this little electric heater that Miss Sheila and Ricky gave me, uh, and it's okay for the area right here beside the chair. No complaints. But the temperature went up to 62 degrees, so 4-degree temperature difference here in my house that's open and everything ain't bad. Right. It's about 60 in here right now. Um, my legs are a little chilly, but it's about 60 in here right now. Yeah, it's definitely cold outside. Before I lay down, I want to go out and check the meter and see how cold it is. Just because, over the years, that's what I do. I wonder how cold it is outside, and I've been threatening on getting an indoor outdoor thermometer and have yet to succeed with that, you know. But the fact that, I'm inside in a shelter at my age, there are old people who are forgotten and stuff and this and that. It was difficult bringing in that freaking wood though and splitting that wood that I did today. My back was not happy, but tough shit. It's like, you got to work for me. That's just all there is to it. So I made several trips and lugged some wood in here, and so far so good. So no complaints at the moment. Just thinking about putting pants on. Just thinking, yeah, I'm still dressed, so I'm gonna walk out the front door and look at the thermometer before I go. The battery's fixing to die, y'all. I love you. Take care. Be sweet. Stay warm. And if y'all need anything, give me a call if I can help. But I don't know from here what I can do. And Miss Sheila's next door. If y'all need something, let me know. So until next time, uh, keep it between the ditches. That's the biggest thing. Keep it between the ditches, you know, and, do that thing. Think about what I said about just adding peace be to you, adding that in conversation. Just think about it. Because if we do and it starts working its way around, the collective is going to feel it. It's just going to get there. I mean, remember back when there was be of service, Bosto? Well, peace unto you or peace be to you, thrown into something directly means something to somebody. Peace be to you. Where Bosto was like be of service or, there was okay. I never did like that acronym. And it died, by the way. But peace be to you is timeless. So, my friends, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. Take care, stay warm, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody, and keep the faith and believe, 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 believe. Adios.